Hello, everyone, and welcome to episode 268 of At Odds with Wrestling, but also episode 236 of We Need Wrestling. Everyone's here. It's me, Joe, Adam, Brett, DJ. Hello, everyone.
I'm doing the dance over here. Don't mind
I was
me.
too.
No, same.
I think legally you're all supposed to do the dance when you hear that.
Yeah. And can I ask, am I doing this right, Brett and DJ? There we go.
Yeah,
Hey, look at you.
I got one too. It wasn't as good though.
I just have water. It's too late for me to be drinking any sort of carbonated beverages, you know?
So, what's going on, everybody?
Hey!
Thanks for having us.
No problem. We did this last year, which I forgot that we were all here for this. But again, Adam reminded me that he was also gainfully unemployed last year as well.
It's a Thanksgiving tradition, me not having any money coming in.
Oh, man.
A lot of money going out, not a lot coming in.
Yeah. Respect the process. That's what I say.
I guess. So everybody have a good Thanksgiving. Everyone eat a lot of food. We had a lot of time to catch up while we were dealing with all sorts of computer and Skype issues here.
Thanks, Brett.
Yeah. I mean, hand up. That's on me.
Yeah. Just like
man,
a Bill fan.
Yeah. I mean, Thanksgiving was good. I ate 2 dinners, so I'm like ready to throw up everywhere. But other than that, we're doing good.
So I ate 2 medium-sized dinners as well, but I paced myself.
I didn't eat much, so probably when we're done recording this at like 3 a.m., that's when I'm going to have my next meal.
There you go.
I'm not going to have a meal, but there is going to be a second piece of pecan pie in my future.
You son of a bitch.
So, just saying.
So, hey, let's get into the show. Enough pleasantries, enough anything. There's going to be a nice mix of both shows, and we're going to see how this goes. My money's on poorly, but let's get right into it.
And now, At Odds with Wrestling presents This Day in Wrestling History.
So, I forgot to say this before. I played the jingle there. I hope you like clips, motherfucker. I got lots of clips. I got lots of history, lots of things to talk about. So I love it when it's such a busy day in wrestling history, and I love when stuff lines up, you know?
Mm-hmm.
It's like poetry because it rhymes, you know?
Hey, that's technically almost a reference. You can't do that.
So we're gonna be all over the place with the history stuff today, right? Because some stuff leads into other stuff, and some stuff doesn't matter, whatever, right? Mm-hmm. So on this day in wrestling history, 38 years ago, I know Adam likes talking about stuff pre-1990, and we got a lot of it this week.
I'm just gonna bow out for a little bit.
I think you're gonna want to hang out for this. But 38 years ago, we get the debut of a hot new up-and-coming Memphis babyface tag team.
Welcome in. A couple of brand new faces to Championship Wrestling. A couple of guys you're going to get to know and know well, too. We're talking about the Freedom Fighters, Jim Hellwig. Jim, glad to have you here, and Steve Borden. Steve, glad to have you guys here. This is your first time out here. We want to get a little background on you. Jim, I know you're from Atlanta, Georgia, right?
That's right. Originally, I was out in California the last year and a half doing some wrestling out there.
And how about the record for the Freedom Fighters, Steve?
God, we've only lost 2 matches, but neither one of those were really legitimate losses. We got hit over the head with chairs and tables and everything like that. You know, they got to do anything they can to beat us.
I can see that.
I don't consider them legitimate then.
Yeah, well, that's an awfully good record starting out for young fellas. I'm standing here. I have heard this, and I know the weight. Jim is 285 and Steve is 260. 22-inch arms, I understand. Jim, is there any way I can get you guys to take these jackets off? You're going to be in the ring here in a minute. How about peeling them off?
Listen to the ladies.
Come on.
I guess.
Oh, baby.
The white tights, the whole thing. Come on.
Did I say big? That's what a 22-inch arm looks like. And here's a 20-inch arm over here. God, nice son of a gun. Hey, I tell you, there's no question you got the physiques for it. Let me ask you this, the important thing, because I know they'll kill me if I don't find out about it. How about, are you guys married, have families, or what?
No, we're single. We're looking forward to meeting
both single?
Yeah, we're single.
Do you hear that, girls? They're both single here. I want to get that around.
Maybe Dana Warriors out there in that crowd.
Again, it's a different time in Memphis where, like, the host of the show is like, all right, we got to let the ladies know everything's going to be on the up and up, right?
You hear the girls out here in Nashville are kind of nice in the Mid-South, so we're looking forward to meeting them.
You bet your life. We got some lovelies around here. You better believe it. We want to wish you guys the very best of luck. I've been looking forward. I've heard a lot about you, and we're interested in having. This is the tag team capital of the world. You're going to see some awfully tough guys. You'll see some more of those chairs and chains, too, Steve.
Well, we're ready for them this time.
Okay. You ready to hit the ring?
We're ready.
Okay, let's get them up there. The Freedom Fighters. Davey, we're ready for the first time.
I'm gonna start becoming an interviewer on the indie scene, and I'm just gonna ask people their marital status.
I was going to say, I did go and get some expert opinions on that segment there.
Steroids are awesome. I don't care what anybody says.
Jesus, fucking Warrior is like massive.
Well, he doesn't know what to do with his hands. He's standing there like holding his hands together. He looks so awkward and like meek, and he spoke in actual sentences. It's crazy.
What happened to him?
I don't think he discovered nose beers.
Right. I think that might have been the issue.
Yeah.
So yeah, this is like the TV big time whatever debut of Sting and the Ultimate Warrior. Like they come in as baby faces. 2 weeks later, they turn heel. And then, like 2 weeks after that, I think they're out of the territory and over to Bill Watts.
Holy shit!
Yeah, it's pretty crazy how life works. And again, 38 years ago today, this moment, and then of course one of these two young men would go on to have their dream. Finally, they start small here, right, Memphis, and then 2014, just 9 years ago. They finally made it to the big leagues.
Yeah, some people on this podcast would like to call them a meme wrestler.
God. How much more? Triple H.
Oh, there he is behind Cole.
Official and end this thing. Be done with it. I'm sure that's what he's going to do, Michael. Oh, you know what? Just count the 1, 2, 3 yourself. Go ahead and do that.
Pulling Seth Rollins on top of future devil Dolph Ziggler.
Oh no!
Oh, look who it is! Yeah, Scott Armstrong, of course. He's been in Triple H's pockets.
Oh, what is that? How terrible of an It's Sting was that? Just awful. Shameful.
Dude, when he showed up, like, I freaked out.
I think it was pretty telegraphed, though, no?
It definitely was, but still, like, just seeing him walk out and, like, I don't know, I freaked out.
Yeah. We'll play the rest of this, and we'll talk about Stinger here and his cup of coffee, if you will, in the World Wrestling Entertainment.
NWA World Heavyweight Champion. But what the hell is he doing here? The franchise. The man who's never stepped foot inside WWE's arena before. Well, what a hell of an impact he's made the first time he did.
Impact, huh?
Whoa! And Sting!
The last time Hunter goes on his back for Sting.
Oh.
Stinger looks younger now.
I was just thinking that when they had the close-up of him there.
Yeah.
Seth Rollins. Hey guys, here's the cover. No. Cena wins.
So again, you heard them saying the icon, the franchise, all those sort of things. So the next night on Raw, they pivot to calling him the Vigilante Sting.
Cool.
But again, how crazy is that? That like 1985 he debuts, and then like the same day, 2014. 29 days, whatever, or 29 years that he makes the WWE debut. Like, I love when like little things like that in people's careers line up. Like, I don't think anyone was looking at it, well, that was his Memphis debut. Let's hold him off to Survivor Series, It was just like kind of the way the cards lay for stuff like that, But the WWE did not know what they had in Sting. They misused Sting. I'm not going to say that they intentionally tried to like take some of the luster off Sting, but I just think that was WWE's way at this time in like 2014, 2015, that they didn't really know how to handle people.
Yeah, and so that leads to him Triple H, then him Rollins, and then that's the end because of the match, right?
Yeah, he has the match at WrestleMania in 15. With Triple H, where Michael Cole is like, this is what it feels like to be in the big time Sting. And then I forget when the pay-per-view is, but he has the match with Seth, and that's when he gets hurt off the buckle bomb, and that's it.
Yeah.
Wow, he only had 2 matches in that run. That's crazy.
Yeah, like a lot of segments, a lot of backstages, lots of, posing as a giant chocolate version of himself sort of thing. But again, like I said, they didn't really know what they had with Sting, I
mean, look at the run he's had in AEW. Like, I know it got cut short, but like to bring him in and have him lose to Triple H, like it was just to amuse people and just to like sort of punish him. It had to have been.
Right. It was to get that moment of DX and NWO squaring off. You remember the original NWO.
Right.
Sting, Hulk Hogan, Kevin Nash, and Scott Hall.
Well, they all wore black and white. So at this point, what's the difference, really?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And they got to sell some figures and some merch, and I'm sure that was probably worth it.
Yeah, and that was another one of the ones where the deal came through with the video game, that they were able to get the deal on Sting because the 2K people reached out to him to be in the video game. And then usually once those wheels start moving, they can start making some overtures to get guys to like actually do stuff on TV. That's, I forget, like, isn't that like this leads to them bringing in Warrior?
Yep. Yeah, that's exactly it.
Wow.
Yeah. So again, speaking of Warriors, speaking of characters, it's Thanksgiving time. It's Survivor Series time. That was Survivor Series 2014. Less said about that one, the better. Better Survivor Series happens 34 years ago from the Rosemont Horizon outside of Illinois. Great wrestling town, if you will. World Wrestling Entertainment held the Survivor Series. And listen, I could run down the card and go through all the colorful characters like peak WWE in 1989, but I think I'll let the superstars themselves do it.
Yo, Hulkamaniacs! It's Thanksgiving night, and this is the happiest time of year for all the maniacs, brother. Me and all my little Hulksters, we got a lot of things to be thankful for. Number 1, we're thankful for being happy and very healthy. We're thankful for having time to share with our love.
That's 2 things. Number 1 is happy and healthy. Anyway. Sorry, you're not going to take another take, Hulkster.
Loved ones. We're also thankful that Hulkamania is still the strongest force in the universe. And after the turkey's done, after the blessings are all done, I can tell you what the Hulkster's mostly happy about.
Isn't the blessing supposed to be before? Anyway, Hulk, just keep going. It's fine. Blessing, then dinner. Not dinner, then blessings. All right.
It's Survivor Series time, and I'm thankful for my team of Hulkamaniacs. I'm thankful because I'm rich and you're not.
I'm thankful for having Damien and the DDT.
You know what we're thankful for? We don't have to fight each other.
Oh yeah, I am thankful that I am the only man worthy of being the Macho King.
Yeah. I'm thankful for the privilege of living right here in the good old US of A. Tough guy. I'm thankful I've got that big earthquake on my side.
Earthquake.
Dino Bravo, the Daddy Magic, the modern day Dino Bravo, and nothing better than Dino Bravo saying Earthquake's name, the Herquak or whatever the hell he says with a thick French Canadian accent.
What I'm thankful for Thanksgiving, for my polka dot.
Dusty, what are you doing there with your hands, huh?
Lots of things.
Come on. Dusty.
Oh, Dusty.
I'm thankful for the justice I serve. I'm thankful for wrestling, cutting, and strutting.
I'm thankful for my good looks.
I'm thankful for having the most ravishing body in the WWF.
Look at how oiled up he got for that promo.
So I played this for my family today after Thanksgiving dinner, and that was the number one comment. Was, what is with all the oil? And I kept telling them it's not oil, it's physique enhancer.
Goddamn right it is.
And they just could not get over Ricky Rude.
Well, again, I'm surprised they didn't say this.
Steroids are awesome. I don't care what anybody says.
I'm thankful because I ate Ricky Rude.
I don't have the Rob Liefeld cocaine drop loaded up, so I'm going to apologize.
I am thankful for being the world's smartest man.
I'm thankful for being absolutely perfect.
Yeah, we're thankful for having sardine stuffing and ham turkey tonight.
They're going to kiss.
I'm thankful for spending Thanksgiving with all the members of the Heenan family.
Except Tully Blanchard.
Thanksgiving every day, but especially this day, as the Warriors give me the intensity to deliver the power at Survivor Series. It is going to be a war!
Jesus Christ, look at his arms.
I found the Coke.
I have a transcript of that.
So these were taped on a different day because Warrior's wearing green here, and for the match when he comes out, he's wearing white. So I'm always that was one of those things, like everybody's like, you know, the guys that have their typical gear, like Dusty's in the polka dots and Bossman's in whatever, Hogan's in the red and yellow, but like Macho has a completely different outfit on for the promo here than for when he comes out in the match, and then Warrior has like different stuff here than he does for when he comes out in the match, like completely different. It was always one of those things that stuck out to me, you know? Mm. But that's a great Survivor Series, right?
I watch that video the first thing I do on Thanksgiving morning is I throw that video on to get me ready for the day.
It's a classic.
It's one of the most quotable moments, like the obviously, I mean, it's Dusty when he comes out. It's basically my tattoo of Dusty with the nightstick. But I'm thankful I ain't Ricky Rude is just one of the most quotable things. I love it so much.
Piper was my guy growing up, you know, like 85, 86 when I was watching. He was a bad guy. I still liked him. You know, late 86, he comes back as a good guy and I'm vindicated. And then he comes back during this run and I didn't realize he was washed and, you know, skinny and eating garages and stuff. It's awesome, right? Now, again, this is the height of Vince's cartoon wrestling. You know, everyone's colorful, everyone's bright. It's 1989. Well, again, on this day, just 2 years later, 1991, a lot of people are still there, but maybe they're in different positions than they were before.
That's the creepiest looking snake I've ever seen in my life. He's got it too close to him. Keep it away from it. The Snake is put. Wait a minute, the Snake is running. The Snake is fighting it. The Snake is fighting it. I'm out of here.
Fuck, man.
To get some help, the Snake is gnawing on the arm of Randy Savage, who's helpless, tied in the rope. All I can say is that Snake better be devenomized. It better be. Jake Roberts.
You can't get it loose.
Drinking the Snake as the Snake digs deeper into the arm of Randy Savage. This is not supposed to happen. Roddy Piper there. Oh no, Elizabeth. I can't believe she's going to witness this horror. Elizabeth. Jake with a Snake.
Why is Liz mic'd up for this anyway?
Let me ask you this. You have to choose. You're either going to get a snake biting your arm like that, or you're going to get staple gunned in the cheek. Which you taking?
Well, more on that later.
Yeah.
As long as the snake's devenomized, I'll take the snake.
Oh, well, doesn't Jake, like, didn't he, because Macho makes him prove that the snake has been devenomized or whatever, and has Jake get bit backstage. But doesn't Jake then, like, hit the snake in the head a bunch of times to extra piss it off?
Well, so, okay. The story that Jake tells, Jake
Which
Roberts,
is completely true.
Notorious truth teller, right? He says that's the story, but even just that moment there where, you know, you had said he's smacking the snake in the head, right?
Yeah.
It's not so much that he's smacking the snake in the head to anger it. He's very clearly trying to get the snake off Macho's arm.
Right.
And he can't. And that's why he's hitting it, to try to get it off Macho's arm, not to piss it off.
Yeah.
But again, you're smacking the snake in the head, you're pissing it off.
Yeah.
Piper out there, Pat Patterson out there.
Jake the Snake has lost it. He's lost it. And I don't think.
Tony Gurria. All the best. Why is Liz mic'd up? Is she mic'd up?
Elizabeth screaming. This is not supposed to happen. Randy Savage.
God damn.
His equilibrium off as Elizabeth shrieks in horror. She can't believe that's her husband. Everyone out in ringside doesn't know what to do. Get him out of there. For God's sake, get Randy Savage out of there. Savage leaping back, and Jake, he doesn't know any better. Savage must be hallucinating by now. Got poison going through his veins. Please.
But anyway, it's devenomized. Why would he be hallucinating from the poison? I don't know if Vince knows how snakes work.
Get him out of there, for God's sake.
Again, 2 years later, cartoons, Doink the Clown, goofy, over-the-top stuff. And then Saturday morning, we get this.
I'm upset by all the hardcore stuff they're doing in wrestling at this point. It's unsafe, and it shouldn't be done.
You should write that in all caps.
Yeah, it turns me off to the product.
They never did anything like this back in my day when I was watching wrestling, and I definitely don't have other things that are maybe worse, but
yeah, it's blood porn if you ask me.
Right, there you go. That's what it is. Well, again, another great Survivor Series moment. This day in wrestling history, 1994. We get the culmination of the big Bob Backlund heel turn, where after Owen convinces Martha Hart to throw in the towel, while Brett's in the crossface chicken wing, which is which feels like for 95 minutes, but is really only about 7. We get this post-match promo from new World Wrestling Entertainment Champion Bob Backlund.
Bob Backlund, he did exactly what he said he was going to do. Agree or disagree with his tactics, he is now 2-time WWE
Wait a minute. First of all, young man, it's Mr. Bob Backlund.
Why is he being interviewed by The Undertaker?
Correct. I've been the champion since 1978. I never lost the championship. Tonight, I regained the belt. and I beat the man that represents your society. I beat him so I could save you. I'm going to scrutinize you to the fullest, pasteurize you, homogenize you, and synchronize you back into morality. You understand, ladies and gentlemen? It's sports education. I'm your champion, and I'll take on anybody. Anybody at all, ladies and gentlemen, in your generation, because I'm fighting for something that's more important than anything in this world. Has put morality back into your lives, and now your children have somebody that they can emulate after and try to catch up to. Because I feel like God!
Holy shit. I was not expecting the I feel like God at the end of that.
Well, again, when this angle first started, it was talked about that Bob Backlund was like possessed by Papa Shango. There was all these sort of crazy, ideas of what the storyline was. But the thing is, like, Bob Backlund at this point had not been seen on WWE TV in like 10 years, was considered an old man who was washed. Does anyone know how old Bob Backlund was here?
Probably 36.
45.
Okay.
So he's like AJ Styles' age.
Oh, God.
Right. And Bob Backlund would go on to have a second lengthy run, just as lengthy as his first one that he said. He's been the champion since 1978. He's just regained possession of the belt, and, he's still the champion today, right?
As far as I know.
Can any of you tell me who beat Bob Backlund for the World Championship?
Here in '94?
Yeah.
Big Daddy Cool, Diesel.
Oh, where did he beat him at, Joe?
Okay. So they announced that it's no disqualification, no count out, no submission, pinfall only. It was at Madison Square Garden that night.
Did you tell me the attendance figure for Madison Square Garden that evening? I didn't know Madison Square Garden held 50,000 people.
It will that night.
Totally worth it.
Dude, so I just watched Survivor Series 94 last night. A little upset we didn't talk about Clowns R Us versus Jerry Lawler's Royal Family. Dude, you're right when you said it feels like Backlund has Bret Hart in the crossface chicken wing for no less than 45 minutes.
So this whole show is super polarizing because I'm sure at the time I hated the Royal Family versus Clowns R Us, and I loved Backlund versus Bret. And I go back and watch it now, and I love Royal Family versus Clowns R Us. And Bob Backlund versus Bret, while okay, I think like with all the shenanigans, it like takes up like 45 minutes of the show.
Yeah, the match goes 35.
Yeah. Like we're talking entrances, the post-match shit, everything else. It just eats up so much time on the show. Oh, it's excruciating.
It's so long.
But again, this is what gets us off to the new generation, a different era in the world wrestling entertainment. Obviously things are changing in wrestling, just like they would do on this day in wrestling history in 1996. Like I said, I mentioned there was a lot of stuff, right?
Oh, boy.
Now, this one, again, it was tough to find good quality footage of it. I can't understand why there wouldn't be great quality footage of this. But ECW ran a show in Revere, Mass. It was supposed to be the Gangstas taking on Devon Dudley and Axl Rotten. And very uncharacteristically of Axl Rotten, unable to make the show. He no-showed the event. So they got a young local wrestler who was there. He didn't act on some local shows with some little people and stuff. He may have cribbed some information about his age, and he may have cribbed some information about who he was trained by. But You know, we all forget that ECW, even in 1996, you know, on the cusp of doing pay-per-view, was still kind of a fly-by-night company, you know? And we get this famous moment in wrestling history. Let me put the sound on. Oh, hang on. Don't look. Go back 2 seconds here. I hear fans say, take it easy. I think that's the kid's dad. Immediately.
Pay the fucking price, brother.
I think we've seen enough of that. So that match goes on for like another 10 minutes, right? So if you don't know, New Jack wants to get color on the kid, so New Jack gigs the kid for him and maybe went a little too far, maybe on purpose, maybe accidentally. There's an RF shoot interview that, that footage of that match you could find. Not great quality, not whatever. I think the week after that happens, New Jack goes and does a shoot interview with RF where they dissect that footage, where New Jack watches it and comments on it. I saw it. And you cannot find footage of that anywhere.
So
I would love to see that.
Yeah. So Joe, you were deep into ECW at this point, right?
Yes.
So what was that like? Obviously this was in Massachusetts, so I'm going to assume you weren't there.
No.
But what being someone who followed ECW very regularly, what was it like? What was the buzz? What was it like being in that moment?
Well, the online fan discussion was, exaggerated that New Jack killed a kid at the show, right? So then, some more firsthand accounts come out, and people say, the kid just got cut open real bad. He was bleeding. There was a riot. There were people screaming to stop the match. New Jack was fighting fans. So, everything is crazy, right? The online stuff. And, no footage. They didn't talk about house shows on TV, right?
Right.
But we're a year and change off me going to the ECW Arena show and the fire chair incident happening and, a fan getting set on fire not 6 feet in front of me. They just make no mention of it on TV. So in my mind, at 19 years old, I'm they lit a fan on fire. What's this? This is probably nothing. Speed bump, right?
Yeah.
I wasn't reading the sheets. I was just online, just generally online. And, I would learn later from, you're between the sheets doing deep dives on stuff like this and just how crazy things got with this of, different people sending footage of this to the cable companies trying to get the pay-per-view canceled. The lone cable company that ended up. And bear in mind, we talked about it last week on the show, it was November to Remember. It was 96. They're setting up the pay-per-view. Whenever it's going to be, no date officially announced yet, but it's told that the main event is going to be Sabu versus Taz, right? And then a week later, this happens.
Yeah. How? So they instantly
nuts
found out that he was 17 or whatever, right?
That's the thing. You have conflicting stories of stuff where they knew and didn't care, or that the kid lied.
Right.
And, it's all wrestling people, so you're never going to get the truth.
Yeah, right.
It's
crazy
just, it's one of those times where there's enough internet out there that enough information can get out to become misinformation. And enough of the people that would be willing to talk about it on the record are notorious liars.
Right.
So it just muddies the whole waters of it. And all we could do is look at this, see what happened, and New Jack zip this kid And in like the 3 Mississippi that it takes for like New Jack to let the kid go, the kid to fall down to the canvas and pick his head up, there's a pool of blood underneath him.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
And luckily, this would be the last time anything so gruesome would happen in professional wrestling, right?
We learned our lesson.
They cleaned it up.
Right. They got all this junk out of the sport, and now it's squeaky clean and everybody could watch it. But there is one last thing. Again, we have to talk about our head-to-head Monday Nitro versus Monday Night Raw. It's a taped Raw. It's a backstage skit-heavy thing with The Undertaker trying to embalm Steve Austin. There's like 4 Job Squad segments on Raw,
There are so many Job Squad segments on this Raw. It's ridiculous.
Right. Over on Nitro, of course, they're setting up Starrcade because it's the night after World War III. Kevin Nash beats Wrath, who was in the midst of a mini undefeated streak, to set up, him beating Goldberg maybe at Starrcade next month. In another undefeated streak getting broken. Speaking of Goldberg, Jericho hot off that program with Goldberg that Goldberg had squashed and smeared out. Apparently is moving on to bigger and better things, right? And we always got to play a Jericho segment, even if they have the shitty wrong music on it.
Where's Gum?
Will somebody call the hair police?
That is so...
I can't say anything.
Well, neither can Mike really, but would you look at that hair? I think Gene didn't even take that hair.
Ralphusaholic.
Wardrobe by Ralphus.
Oh, great. Designer clothing by Ralphus.
You're right. That hair is like... It's just kind of like sitting there. It's like...
Yeah, keep going.
It looks like fur.
You're so proud of yourself, aren't you?
Go ahead, Gene. Oh, look at that.
I can't say too much about a bad hair day, but you look like you just plugged into a light socket somewhere. Chris Jericho.
You used to look like this in the 60s, Gene Mean. I remember. First of all, I just want to say this. I feel a little bit let down, a little bit betrayed by all the Jerichoholics, and I'm going to tell you why. Over the last little while, you people haven't been showing me the respect that I deserve. You haven't been cheering as loudly as you should. You're forgetting that you're Jerichoholics. And you're forgetting the only reason why I'm your role model is because I am better than each and every one of all of you.
One man that has not been paying a lot of respect to you, Mr. Jericho, is the man that challenged you last night in the neighboring Motor City, Bobby Duncombe Jr.
Well, Gene, that's another thing. Bobby Duncan Jr.
Duncombe.
The cowboy was embarrassed by Chris Jericho. He was torn apart, and I told you that crazy old wizard Stu Hart forced me to be a cowboy in my first match. Cowboy Chris Jericho from Casper, Wyoming. I hate cowboys, but I also remember that being a cowboy was kind of fun. And I'm sure I could lasso a dogie, and I could rustle up some vittles just as good as anybody else can.
No,
thank you very much.
There's the head of security.
And wait for him, he's a trained killer. He'll rip you apart.
That's Rufus.
No, that's
Ralphus. Get away from him. Rip you apart.
That is Bobby Duncombe Jr., and I believe he's got Rufus.
Gene keeps calling him Rufus.
Random.
He's doing a silly bit.
Let's not go that far.
Whoa, wait a minute. Jericho, go back, take a look at that. That is not a pretty picture, ladies and gentlemen. Tony, pick it up from there, please.
All right, Jericho over it. I'll keep the tape over his neck, would you please?
Take it easy. Take it easy.
Maybe 3.
I tell you, Ralphus is angry. And Jericho trying to settle him down. Yippee-ki-yay and all that. That's his dental floss.
We're back.
Ladies and gentlemen, you're looking at the world's biggest rugrat.
So this went through the commercial break of Jericho trying to get Ralphus undone.
I'm sure he sleeps on that at home, so it doesn't matter.
Also, Jericho, when Scott Hall comes out, just walks away from Ralphus. There you go.
You know what you should do now is go through his pockets.
So, like, this is the only thing there was no Raven segment this week. I checked. Was there a Raven segment? I missed it, DJ?
Yes. Canyon comes out to wrestle, and his music plays, and he doesn't come out. And they walk the camera backstage, and he's yelling at Raven, and he says, like, you have to come out with me and give me the rub. If I don't win this match and you're not out there, it's your fault. He's like, you got to stop blaming your mother for everything. You're 30 years old.
30.
Yeah. That's also the second Bobby Dunton segment of this Nitro.
Oh, that's right, because he has a match with Heel Glacier.
He does. And coincidentally, on the Raw that aired the same night, Dwayne Gill beats Christian for the light heavyweight championship.
And what is it, the week after that, and we'll probably cover it next week, it's when he becomes Gilbert, right?
It's a week or two away. He joins the Job Squad and then becomes Gilbert, yeah. So
25 years ago, this is everything that's going on, right? And I know they covered a lot of this on Between the Sheets last week, the stuff that we talked about and everything, but it's just so crazy to see what the two companies are doing at this point. Like, WCW's houses and stuff are up, but like the shows are really bad. And
the shots of the arenas though are insane. There's signs wall to wall. Like there's, for them being like these shows not being great, there are fans everywhere.
Right. And the houses for WCW don't fall off for like another 3 to 4 months. And it's just one of those things where we talk about it with like even modern wrestling, and you really can't compare like wrestling from 10 years ago, let alone 25 years ago to today. But a lot of that is what's going on TV is going to sell your house 6 months from now. So like when the TV right now, 25 years ago, is bad, they're playing off 6 months prior stuff where everybody was hot. And
Jericho mispronouncing Bobby Duncombe Jr.'s name is one of like the most underrated Jericho bits ever.
There's like a Saturday night thing, isn't there, or a Sunday Power to or some shit with it with the same bit.
Right, because that's
good.
Yeah, this is where Jericho kind of ends up getting demoted to, and I think I saw somebody today point out, like, in his book, like, this was the weekend of TVs and stuff that, like, made him think, like, okay, maybe my time is done here. Maybe I need to, not re-sign a new deal and look to see what things are going to be in WWE for me. And, that still wouldn't come for, like, another almost 10 months.
Wow. That's unreal.
Yeah. And we have Bobby Duncombe Jr. Dink Dunton. Bobby Duncan. To thank for it.
But yeah, like I said, a great big busy this day in wrestling history. I love looking at all this stuff, and like I had my notes. I'd done them earlier in the week, and then like today, it's like more stuff is coming out, more stuff is coming out, more stuff is coming out. I'm like, oh my God, it's gonna be such a jam-packed segment, but I love it.
It is. I actually had two things. Obviously, I don't have clips, but it's also the anniversary of Jesse Ventura's last WWE appearance in 2009.
Oh, okay.
And it's the anniversary of Art Barr's death.
Yeah, and obviously that's a weird one to talk about, right?
Sure, certainly.
Yeah. Because that was, if you believe, that was him and Eddie hot off of the When Worlds Collide show. That was the WCW joint show with AAA, and there was discussion that Paul E was looking to bring in both Eddie and Art Barr to ECW.
Yep.
And if Art Barr doesn't pass away, and they come in as a heel act as opposed to like a baby, like Eddie coming in initially as a baby face, like what does their careers look like? You know, and even further to think, you know, there we are, like Art Barr died, here it is, and 1994, and then like right around the same time, 2005 is when Eddie passed away.
Yeah. Yeah, pretty crazy. I think Dominic Mysterio wore an Art Barr t-shirt the other day.
Yeah, people were saying that. That's kind of reminiscent of when Art Barr did a dark match for WWE as not the juicer, but kind of the juicer, and he wore a Pee Wee Herman shirt, like days after the Pee Wee allegations.
Good timing.
Yeah, that's smart.
Yeah. I think that was just them telling me, he's like, yeah, I'm just here to get a pay. I'm just here to get like whatever the TV job guy fee is. I'm not worried about getting signed, you know? So again, a lot of history stuff, you know, but on We Need Wrestling, one of my favorite segments, we'll turn it over to DJ. It's time for DJ Google's the wrestling news, right?
Okay, it is. It certainly is. Hold on one second. Doop, 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 doop. All right, here's the news. Let's see. From Wrestling Inc., why Bully Ray says he loves truth in pro wrestling. I'm not opening that one. He cites The Miz, so I'm double not opening that one. From SE Scoops, top independent star spotted at WWE Performance Center. Maddie Renkowski. Do we know this person?
I know the name.
Yeah. It sounds familiar. Let's see. She does a Mean Girl moniker. Apparently she's at the NXT tapings. So we'll see what happens there.
Literally every woman on the NXT roster does a Mean Girls gimmick.
It's true. There's not like 9 of them. Right, but they can all just group together, or they're all mean for different reasons. It's all different, Adam. It's all original material. Let's see. This is a light pro wrestling news, sadly. Let's see. I'm still looking. Will Ospreay signed with AEW. Did anybody hear that one this week? Did that make the rounds?
What a scoop.
Breaking news.
I mean, I'm on page 3 of Pro Wrestling News here.
Well, I'll throw this out.
Right.
You know, as this shows up in my messages on the CW Seed app.
Okay.
NWA Power is listed as an original digital comedy series.
Well, all right.
When you're right, you're right.
Justin Credible's returning to GCW.
What?
Still a thing?
Listen, he's at GCW Come On Dude, December 2nd in Hartford, Connecticut. Justin Credible returns to GCW. You heard it here first.
Well, there is that story of the time when it was 2004. It would have been. It was Ring of Honor's debut in, I don't know if it was Hartford, but it was somewhere in Connecticut. And Justin Credible was there as a surprise. And at the time, the newsletters said that Justin Credible's pop in Connecticut was bigger than Jeff Hardy's pop at the Rexplex just weeks prior.
Also in the news, Buff Bagwell apparently arrested for DUI a couple days ago, but Diamond Dallas Page said that he was not arrested and that he is still sober, and that it was some sort of punishment was unknown. It was a court appearance, and he had, I don't know. I don't understand Diamond Dallas Page's logic on any of this.
This is at least the third story in the last rolling 12 months of Buff Bagwell getting arrested for a DUI, but no, it was just him being charged on a prior offense.
Right.
He's clean and everything's okay. But why are there 3 happening? And why are they old offenses? And I get, COVID kind of delays the processing of things like this. And I'll give you 1, maybe 2. But I vividly remember 3 this year.
Yeah, I agree.
Well, the best thing is that Buff is a listener of the show and a frequent voicemail caller, so he could always call and set the record straight.
That's true. I hope he does
Defend
this
yourself,
week.
Yeah.
And then the last thing here, apparently the PWI Tag Team 100 is out. And if anybody cares, FTR's #1 again. So there you go.
Did they forget?
I'm sure Paul will tell you about it.
#2 is Aussie Open, and they've been on the shelf for a little while.
Well, you know how it works. Like their period that they grade from is like August of 22 to August of 23, or like whatever, like that weird 12 months that they look at is.
Yeah.
And I guess it was because like Aussie Open were probably like the Ring of Honor tag team champions at the time, so that's why they get #2. You know,
that's true. So, and you have your normal other ones here: Sami Zayn and Kevin Owens, Bishamon from New Japan, Motor City Machine Guns, Ace Austin and Chris Bay, The Acclaimed, Judgment Day, Damage Control. But for Brett and I specifically, Adam too, because I know you're the expert in Japanese wrestling. But in the number 10 spot is 7-Up, the team of Nene Takahashi and Stan Hansen's favorite female wrestler, Yu.
Oh, Nene Takahashi and you beat me to it. Sorry.
Right. Yeah. Well,
Adam, thank you for letting DJ have the floor there. I
appreciate you letting me get that over.
It's all good. I want to get your spots in, you know?
Right. I appreciate it. And that's, as far as I'm concerned, that's the news.
I know with the announcement of FTR being the #1 team in the PWI, I know Bald put up a list that he changed like 6 or 7 times of the top 10 tag teams in his opinion. And he kept like changing the list and changing the order and taking people off and adding people. And again, you know, maybe we'll be, I don't know, who knows? Maybe Bald will come up, but he put Midnight Express as #1. I definitely think trying to curry the favor of somebody who he loves and was maybe negative to him this past week.
Oh, what did Stan Lane do?
No, not Stan. Well, besides be the only wrestler trained by Ric Flair, Stan Lane didn't do anything.
My favorite thing that Bald did this week was when he showed that horrific picture of his disfigured and scarred forehead on the airplane, and just being nobody knows what it's like, what we go through, you know.
That's from that video game wrestling that he's forced at gun and not gunpoint. His partner is forcing other people at gunpoint to do things. But it's that video game wrestling that Tony Khan at knife point forces him to do on a weekly basis against his will, according to Jim Cornette. So that's what you end up looking like. You have like a little scrape on your nose and a boo boo on your noggin.
Right, but at gunpoint, they mean Billy Gunn's kids. That's they send them around to muscle people over.
Exactly. So, hey, we're already kind of into it. Let's. What do we want to talk about that happened in wrestling this last week? Under normal circumstances, I would let our guests go first, but you know, I think this time I'll let Adam start things off.
Oh, see, you got me confused by your silly little bit. You should have rang your bell, Joe. You know what?
Ding, ding.
All I'm going to talk about is AEW from the pay-per-view and the Continental Classic tournament, and I feel like that's something that our guests want to talk about, so I want to defer to those guys, Brett and DJ.
All right. Dude, Swerve and Hangman is the coolest thing I think I've ever seen from Full Gear.
Cool. He's so
dude, cool. I've gone back and watched that match. I watched it 3 times this week. I'm still not over the part where Hangman grabs Swerve by the head and purposefully bleeds Swerve's blood into his mouth, and then Triple H spit missed it. It's one of the fucking craziest things I've ever seen in my life. When it happened, I screamed because I didn't know what the fuck was going on. Wrestling is so cool, and don't be a baby.
Yeah, that was going to be the show image this week if Joe didn't slide into my DMs earlier with what we ended up with. But oh man, Swerve is awesome. And can I get off topic? Did you see the clip going around of Swerve at the Rams game this past weekend?
Amazing. Oh, yes. It's so perfect.
They're playing the Who's house, and he's just getting frustrated every time. It was so good.
And people, quote unquote, people got mad that he wasn't selling his injuries at the game.
Oh my God. What people? Like other than Cornette.
You know what people, Adam. Yeah, so that's sort of taken the wrestling world by storm, and there are a lot of people that said it was a bridge too far. There are some people, i.e. myself, that says that the bridge is not completed yet. It has a little bit of ways to go. It is still, I haven't rewatched it, but I haven't stopped thinking about it. I just am completely in love with that match, completely in love that they let it happen. It's going to be around in the next month when we talk about it for the end of the year and stuff. But like, I don't know. I mean, when we watched it, we were all watching it together. When we finished watching it, I was like, that's the best match in AEW history. And I don't know that my mind has been changed.
And all of our consensus watching it live was very similar to like a majority of folks online was like, how can anything follow that? They should just end the pay-per-view right after that. And there was still 2 more matches left to go. And, you know, and we could kind of get into some of that here as well. But, you know, that was an all-timer. That is going to be a match that's talked about, you know, for years, should be talked about positively. You know, where people will say that some of the creative into that was a little shaky, nitpicking it to death. And that's just the way that culture is in 2023. People were divided on the home invasion angle sort of thing. But when you have guys like Hangman and have guys like Swerve who, you know, maybe get an idea that sounds good when it's pitched and then maybe the execution isn't the best, I feel as though they made it all work. They tied everything together. And it was something as simple as, you know, Hangman taking the pictures off of the fridge and stapling them to Swerve's face. Is that an extreme? Is that a very far line to cross? Sure, but sometimes you got to cross a line to sell a blood feud in professional wrestling, right? If they went out there and did arm bars and it started with a lockup, right? We'd all cry bullshit. And people, they went out and they did this and it was 2 guys legitimately trying to kill each other. And some people called bullshit. You can't make everyone happy when it comes to professional wrestling, but I can't imagine the person who watches this match and not being happy.
I feel like anybody who watched that and didn't like it isn't the target audience anyways. It was people that were hate watching it and looking for something to dislike to go online and be like, you know, this is what's wrong with wrestling, you know?
Dude, even the way the match started, like Hangman not waiting for an entrance, like just hitting the ring, double leg, punching in the face, like that's the way this shit needs to go. You know, there's so many like different images, like Swerve just stapling himself and laughing while just bleeding everywhere. The barbed wire that gets wrapped around like Hangman's head and face when he's sitting opposite way, like on the top rope, was fucking crazy. The glass spot was nuts. Like
right, you know, they bring out the bag and like everyone's like, oh, it's gonna be taxed. I'm like, no, man, that's got to be glass, and it's glass. And he does the dive off the top onto the glass onto Hangman, just crazy shit in this match, and I loved every second of it.
Right, and I don't even. There's nothing in this match, like nothing in this match is the most dangerous thing done on this show, and that's one of the points that I like sort of thought when the show was over. I was like, not that this match was tame in any way, but the most dangerous maneuver in this whole show was 2 matches later. So,
oh yeah, and I think we can get into that if we're done with. Anyone else have anything about Hangman Swerve?
I'll just say, put all the belts on Swerve, please. That's all.
Dude, like, so I hate, like, going back and, like, looking through my old tweets or whatever, just be like, when did I say this about Swerve? But, like, it was, like, May of 22. Like, I had a tweet where I'm like, yo, Swerve's the guy. Like push him. Let's go. Like, enough fucking around. I still feel that way.
If I was wearing glasses right now, I'd push them up and I'd be like, well, Brett, when Swerve was in Hit Row, I went on this show and put him in the likes. So,
well, you were just doing that because you were trying to curry favor with Dollar King or whatever the fuck his name is.
Yeah, still cultivating that relationship, but go ahead.
It's shout out
cousin,
thank you.
Shout out cousin Tahuti.
There was right before they got let go when 2.0 were Everrise still in NXT, and it looked like they were like brewing something with them and Hit Row. Again, Matt Menard, Daddy Magic, whatever the hell, he would always call him Dollar King as opposed to Top Dollar. So that's just stuck in my head, and he'll always be Dollar King to me. And because again, you have to imagine it in that Daddy Magic, Matt Menard, Shane Matthews over the top voice of him incredulously saying Dollar King, and that's what's in my head.
Didn't BFAB just get her first action figure too? I think she got a basic coming out or something.
So did Top Dollar.
There you go.
Yeah, they talked on the
Cousin Tahuti.
They talked on the major pod about Top Dollar signing on the cardboard of his figure instead of the bubble.
Ew.
With a Sharpie.
It's the first time.
Rook.
It's the first time anybody ever asked him for an autograph and got him a break.
I was gonna say, who does he think he is? Gangrel?
Yeah. And his autograph made Wheeler Yuta's look like fancy calligraphy.
So we talked about the pay-per-view. I thought Full Gear was a really good show, top to bottom. Could have, should have, would have culminated with the Swerve and Hangman match. But again, as we mentioned, there was 2 more matches left to go. One was the Young Bucks versus the tag team name that I won't say, but it's Kenny Omega and Chris Jericho. And I'm gonna come in here with a controversial take. This was a really good match, and I liked it a lot. Going into this not caring whatsoever about any of the participants in this match, I think they did as good as a job as you possibly could in following what had just come before it. And I'm taking away Jericho getting a little nick on his arm after Matt Jackson brushed his foot against the steps to cause the laceration. I'm taking away the temper tantrum that the Bucks throw at the end of the match. Bell to bell, it was a really good match.
It was. It just suffers from having to follow what's going to be an all-timer.
Right.
So it took that, at least for me, the few minutes for me to recover before I was even willing to look up at my television for anything else. But it was a good match, yes.
Yeah, it was good. I agree with you, DJ. Like, definitely was taking a bit to recover to actually watch it, and I was trying to talk myself out of bumming a cigarette off of Adam for the whole match because that's how I felt after Swerve Hangman. But yeah, I mean, it was. I look at it as maybe Jericho. I don't know. Maybe Jericho told them to like tone down the super kick spam shit. I don't know. He plays into that shit too. But yeah, like it was okay.
I feel bad because I didn't pay attention to 1 second of that match just because of what you guys just said. It was you're coming down from this huge high, and it's a match that, like, I'm going into it, I didn't give a shit about. So they would have had to have worked super hard to get me invested in it. And much like you guys, I'm like, okay, I'm on Twitter. I'm in the Discord. I went outside to rip the heater. I'm like, this is all the breaks I needed before we get into figuring out what the hell they're going to do to fix the main event.
Yeah, I expected Jericho to see the match, the Swerve Hangman match, and then tell everybody, like, listen, we got to do as much as we can to top that. And so I expected an overworking Jericho where he's going to come out and try and do too much that he still can't do, and he didn't. Not that Jericho is perfect in this match or anything, but they just came out and had a match that they would have no matter who they were following. And I wasn't really expecting that. I thought they were going to try and be like, well, we'll show you what we can do. And they just had a really good match.
I'm curious, like, from a kayfabe standpoint, obviously the Omega and Jericho won, and I wonder if Brett and DJ could let me know how the Bucks felt after that match.
Well, they were smashing chairs because they were mad. We're so mad. We're mad, and now we're taking time away from wrestling because we're mad.
Thank you.
Hey, at least they're leaving.
Yeah. Hey, I've been fucking lobbying for that for weeks, and they finally listened.
You know what? You're right.
Yeah, and not from a standpoint of someone who strongly dislikes the Bucks like I do, but like somebody who's a little overexposed on TV can really benefit from taking a few weeks to months off of television. Nothing wrong with that. But they're mad.
We say this, we say this all the time on the show. With as big as the AEW roster is, like outside of whoever the champions are, there's no reason that a good chunk of that roster should not be like on a 9-month rolling schedule. Obviously plans can change if something's working or somebody gets hurt and needs to be a replacement, but just to kind of keep guys fresh and, give them that break off TV where, you phase them out in a program and then they come back 3 months later kind of rejuvenated. They get that return pop with a new storyline, a new something. There's no reason they shouldn't do that. It's not like they got to worry about being on the house shows. Granted, they do have 5 hours of TV a week and they have more pay-per-views in the schedule, but they have such a big roster. There's no reason that like guys like the Bucks shouldn't take the time off that they are. And listen, storyline wise, whatever, must be nice to be an EVP and get to call your shot and take the holidays off and probably still get paid a nice chunk of change after they just renegotiated a few months ago. Must be nice not having to travel and spend time with your family over this. But again, if I could do it, I'd do it too. And they're doing it, right? My opinion on them is, below low. But again, if they're going to end up being happy and I don't have to see them for at least a month and a half, but then I worry leading up to the pay-per-view, there was the bit of them, whatever Jackson it was, on their Instagram where people were like, no, I'm not really feeling this match. And the Jackson replies like, well, what did you want us to do? Not be on the pay-per-view? Yeah. Take a pay-per-view off, guys. You know what? Take two. Take 2 pay-per-views off. You don't need to get something thrown together. It's not unless, and again, I don't know what their contract statuses are, and I don't know if speculation about other people's contracts are going to come up either. But I don't know if they get like a bonus for being on pay-per-views, if they're just getting a flat fee of whatever it is. And that they like, well, if we don't work the pay-per-views, we're not meeting our downsides. I don't know what their contract status is, but take 2 pay-per-views off. I say take 3. You know what? Take 2024 off.
Come back fresh in 25, boys.
You know what? 26. Really freshen up.
Right. Let them have a long, hard think about if this is what they really want to continue doing.
Yeah.
Get some follicle restoration process done.
There you go.
Let those plugs set,
And then we have the main event. For the world title, according to the graphic, the person who was holding the belt in Switchblade Jay White against Adam Cole. And they didn't deliver on the advertised match. I saw the graphic. I saw the announcement from Tony Khan. And then all of a sudden, MJF just shows up in this match out of nowhere. I didn't watch the pre-show, so I don't really know how any of this happened. But then, controversial opinion, MJF and Jay White proceed to go have a really good match, right? MJF looks good in the match for someone who's selling a fake injury. Switchblade, is working as hard as he has in every single thing that he's done in AEW. Creative be damned. And as good as this match was, no one will remember how good this match was. They'll just remember the 19 fucking gimmicks and teases and ambulance thing and fake outs and the ring and the belt and the crutch and the interference and is the devil going to show up and all this other shit, which sadly is going to take away from the quality of this match.
So obviously we're all watching this together and we're trying to figure out a way to logic a conclusion to this match. We're like, okay, if Cole actually wrestles, or if like Switchblade, if he just lays down and Cole lays on top of him, does that mean Adam Cole's the champion? No. He's defending it on behalf of MJF, so MJF's still the champ. So we're trying to figure out, like, okay, does Adam Cole, is he owed a rematch from Max that we forgot about? So there was no logical way to have this end where it made sense. So I feel like the whole thing from a storyline standpoint was very disappointing. I think I left that match with the same feeling that Brett and DJ might have, where we're like, okay, a beaten and battered and one-legged MJF just beats the Guns and like an undefeated Switchblade in one night. So what does that do to Switchblade from a credibility standpoint that a barely mobile MJF was able to beat them? So I was very disappointed in that.
Yeah. Go ahead.
Go ahead. No, go ahead, DJ.
All you, buddy. Go ahead.
All right. Yeah, I mean, I definitely, can see that. I know some people kind of countered that point with, oh, well, Jay White, he's the chicken shit heel. Once he got in the ring with MJF's going to kill him, whatever. I'll go back to the beginning of this match. And Joe, after the pay-per-view, you made a really good point when you said, if I'm Switchblade and I go, oh, wait a minute, the advertised match is me and Adam Cole, I'm not changing it now. Like, don't make him look like a stupid bad guy, Just, no, why am I going to change it? This is the match, right? This is what's official. There's the graphic. Why would I change this? I understand it's wrestling and, you could do whatever you want, but it does make him kind of look like, well, why didn't you just stick to the match that showed? But yeah, it's tough with Switchblade. And this kind of ties in a little bit to the Continental Classic, where do you have Switchblade like go on a run for revenge, or like kind of like, hey, thanks for playing in MJF's playground, buddy. Here's 3 belts, to kind of build him back up, because I do agree, coming out of it, he looks worse for wear for sure.
Yeah, it's hard, right? So wrestling always asks you to suspend your disbelief, right? In almost every aspect of wrestling, you have to do some level of suspending your disbelief. And I also understand that wrestling, the storylines are never officially over, right? The wrestling has to continue on, and there's no off season. So stories will always loop in and out and continue. But the story that they gave us on this pay-per-view regarding Max and Adam and Switchblade feels incomplete at the end of this one particular night. And not incomplete in like, I can't wait to see what they do next, but like there should have been something else.
Yeah,
because
I felt like we were going to get some kind of like reveal or something with Adam Cole being there.
Right. And so, I can even look past MJF. Oh, he got hurt in the beginning. It's his, and he, but he still beats Jay White. He still pulls out the come from behind babyface victory with an injury. Right. But you're dealing with a guy who had a match earlier, and he goes to the hospital with a hospital level injury. And then it just, I don't like where it leaves Jay White at the end of the day. And now with Juice hurt, I think that leaves, them even in a weirder spot. But it still feels incomplete to me. The match was very good. I was also took me back to get into this a little bit, because I was like, oh, come on. Like, what are we doing? Like, Max is really going to do this? Like, Jay White should have just grabbed a knee bar and ended the match. There's no reason why Jay White, reasonably in a storytelling wrestling match, doesn't just grab a leg and work it until Max gives up. But you have to let them tell the story they're telling. And I did. And it just doesn't, it seems like they missed something. Or, they had a plan and the very end of it got scratched off. I have no idea. But the match I liked the match a lot.
Now, there was rumors floating around, and it's unsubstantiated. Really, all we could comment on is what we saw on TV and how everything kind of played out, right? But there was rumors online that the idea was going to be that it was going to be Roderick Strong that was going to step in for Max to show that, like, he's Adam Cole's friend, and his intentions have been pure this whole time, and then Max makes the return. But obviously on Collision the night before, in the match with Action Andretti, Roddy fucks up his neck again.
Ugh.
or takes a bad spill or whatever it was, so they didn't want to risk that. But even still, depending on how bad that injury was with Roddy, that he's still on TV on Wednesday, you could still have Roddy be the one that comes out and say, I'll do it. Or like Adams, like we could sit here and rebook it all together. But what I could say is just what ended up happening. DJ, that's perfect. That it was incomplete. Match is good. The deal where Max is going to do the table spot on the outside of the table immediately crumbles, and Max still goes to the top rope and still does the elbow off the top rope straight to the floor with like nothing to break his fall with the table or anything, which was a ridiculous spot, like a maniac behavior.
That's the most dangerous thing done on this entire show.
Yeah, dangerous to the person doing the move and taking the move.
Right.
Yep.
Yeah, that shit made Mick Foley blush.
So, did you guys watch the presser afterwards as well?
I did.
Yes.
Okay. So, I want to point out, I want to say Chris Zellner mentioned Between the Sheets before. Chris ended up, he was watching his college football. That's a dead end street. So he ended up watching the pay-per-view spoiler free like the next day. And he had remarked that, like, I get what they were going for. Like, it was supposed to be the homage to the Sting Rick Rude angle from the Clash of Champions. But Sting lost that match in 5 minutes when he came back from the hospital.
Right? There you go.
Right. So, like, I get what they're going for, but to put Max as like this, like, I get he's a baby face, and I get that he takes shortcuts, and I get that he's our scumbag and stuff, but, taking out 3 guys by himself on one leg, and then he goes to the presser, and he's talking about how he was backstage at Gorilla watching Swerve and Hangman when he was supposed to be at the hospital selling the injury. Okay? Now, again, I'm going to be very careful here, only because he just wrestled a lot match. I know Max is heavily involved in his own creative. And is Max self-aware enough to realize that the creative for that part of the storyline at Full Gear did not work? I don't know. Okay. But you could definitely tell that he was very emotionally affected by what happened. And he's a young kid. He's 27 years old. He's the champion of a promotion that's going through a lot of growing pains right now. That's had a lot of changes in the last 3 months. Thanks, Phil. And Max is not the only one who's publicly talked, on social media and in interviews, and then part of his TV character. And this is where we kind of blur the line a little bit because, he says, I'm not a character. What you see is what you get. But what we've seen out of Max, if you look at what Max has done over the year on TV, none of it lines up properly, right? It's all over the place. So I don't know what Max's mental diagnosis is. I don't know, whatever that is, but it definitely felt like at the press conference he was having an issue, and I would never want to like contribute to someone going through something like that. But if he's not able to handle this sort of pressure for his own mental well-being and health, maybe, he should be aware enough to be like, hey, maybe it's time to wrap this up for a little bit and I take some time off to deal with whatever I'm dealing with, or for Tony Khan to step in and say like, hey, we need to work something out because like, maybe you're not able to handle this right now. And like, I'm not doing this as a punishment, but I'm doing this for your betterment. I don't know. I'm not close with those people. I can only see what I see on TV. And if Max is telling us that everything that he does is real, he definitely looked like someone who was having a nervous breakdown Saturday night. And I don't know. I know Max don't listen to this goddamn show. But I hope he's okay, and I hope he's dealing with whatever he's going through.
Yeah, I agree. Like, I like Max. I like most of his work. And I agree. Like the last couple months, I feel like he's been a bit gotten to online. with his work. Especially like I remember him saying, "I've got to be better" after like the Jay White tofu shit bombed. And he didn't used to do that, so hopefully everything's all right with him. In ring, his matches this year have been better than he's ever been. I mean, he's crushed it for sure. But maybe put down Twitter every now and again and don't just read into what every critic of yours is saying a little bit. You're not going to please everybody. There's people that they love Max and everything he does, and then flip of the coin, there's people that hate him and everything he does. So, I do agree though. I have seen like a bit of a change in him personality wise.
Mm-hmm. So, do you think that he takes it personally when people sort of speak out and attack the WWE light side of AEW? Because a lot of that stuff could be translated to being the MJF stuff, especially that pay-per-view with, the switcheroos and all the stuff they piled into that match. His segments are very sort of WWE referencing, WWE inspired. Do you think that Max as a person, even when it's not directed at him, sort of shoulders some of that, like, oh, they're talking about me when they mention the WWE side of AEW?
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah.
I know if it was me and it was something that I put out there, that, I put my creative thing into, and it's one thing to be a creative person and tell other people to go out and do X, Y, and Z, but it's another thing for you to be the performer, to have your own hand in creative, and to go out there and in your mind, like, this is what I imagined happening. I'm going to go out there and do it. In my mind, I hit a home run. And then the online discourse is overwhelmingly negative. And I'll just say this one step further. The online discourse is overwhelmingly negative. Max is still getting great reactions in front of those live crowds.
Absolutely.
He's still super over.
Right.
Now, pay-per-view was a huge crowd. TVs haven't been huge crowds lately, but it doesn't matter the size of the crowd. We were there live a couple weeks ago in Philly. Max is super over that live crowd, right?
No doubt.
And you could certainly brush aside online criticism and just say, it's a small sampling. It's only a couple people. It's less than the people that come to the attendances, Mother's Basement, Neckbeard, Incel, all stuff that Max has said, both as his on-screen character and on Twitter and in interviews. But you could only say that for so long before it really starts to get to you.
Right. And the thing with Max, and Brett had said this, so I agree with him, but like his matches are always really good. Like, and Max says it himself, bell to bell. That guy delivers. He delivers better than I thought he could. He delivers in that ring better than someone his age probably should, right? I think in those ropes he's better than you would expect.
For a guy whose character is I don't like to and I don't want to wrestle,
right.
When he does wrestle, he's really fucking good at it.
Right. But then he cuts these live promos where he talks about the tofu thing and whatever else. And then this week he brought up his
Google Trends bullshit.
The Google Trends. He brought up his mom's diaphragm.
Copping head from an alligator.
Right.
Dude, like, what the fuck is that?
So he's very uneven in his game, but like when he wrestles, I'm like, this guy's cool. Like, he's really good. And then he knocks himself down a peg for me every time he opens his mouth on a live thing.
So I definitely feel like he's accomplished enough as champion. Like, as you guys said, like, he had the Iron Man match. He had this match. He's had every type of match. He's had the longest reign. He's had a very good reign. And as Joe said, maybe it's time for the sake of everybody to put an end to it. I'm going to ask you guys, would you, all biases aside, would you like to see Samoa Joe win it? If that meant, hold on, if that meant that there was no satisfactory conclusion to the devil stuff.
Yes.
I'll say yes as well. I feel like if Adam Cole is as hurt as people are saying he is, he's not going to be ready to wrestle. Maybe, I don't know, early summer 2024. And like, do you really want to keep it going that long?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm saying yes also. One, because Samoa Joe is arguably the most consistent professional wrestler over the last 20 plus years. And two,
most consistent, most believable, most in a clutch. And I don't mean the coquina one, but like when you need him to deliver on any level at any time, he does above and beyond. Never has Samoan Joe not been in a situation where he hasn't delivered and made you believe and gotten that entire crowd into the match.
Right. And with Max now, and you run into this problem across the board, right? When a long title run happens, how do you believably end it, right? They're looking at that with Roman. They've been fighting that back and forth for how long? Max is getting to that point because in this pay-per-view, he wrestled 2 matches and the world title match on one leg. Who can beat him? He's wrestled 2-on-1 matches in one. He's wrestled on one leg in one. So who can believably beat him? And I think without any sort of storyline needed, Samoa Joe, right? I mean, nobody's going to be like, oh, Samoa Joe couldn't actually beat MJF. Of course Samoa Joe could beat MJF any day. So, like, I think if you're going to get out of it, if MJF's hip is as bad as he is sort of signaling that it is from that elbow drop, I don't think anybody, or at least anybody who matters, questions Joe beating him here. Just because they have to do something to move on, Cole's out, all that sort of stuff.
And they can still, like, if Samoa Joe wins this, they can still have the devil torment MJF through backstage promos and shit like that too, But
yes.
When Samoa Joe said, like, you're my property and, like, you're under my protection, like, because I want the best version of you when I beat you. It's like, yes, we hear this stuff before, but never quite the same way. And me, like, in 2023 being like, yeah, I believe him. Like, everything he says, like, yes, sir, I will not say anything bad about you because you were so goddamn credible, as you guys said.
Yeah.
Right. Joe is like the realest motherfucker on TV.
Right.
Yeah.
I was explaining to Michelle, I said, like, to me, Samoa Joe holds the 2 best independent wrestling matches of all time. Just lends to the legend.
The match with Kawada, right? Or
with Kobashi, yes.
Kobashi.
Yeah.
Yep, Kobashi.
And Necro Butcher.
Okay. Because, like, when you said 2, and I'm like, I don't know, the first match with Low Key in 2002 is really good. The cage match with Jay Briscoe at the Rexplex is really good.
It is really good.
You know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
But, like, legendary matches. And, and again, yes, the match with Kobashi and the match with Necro Butcher, you could not find 2 more different matches if you tried.
Right.
And Joe had those matches within, like, the same 12-month, like, period.
Right.
Hey, the trilogy with Phil's real good too, guys.
It's very good. And that's the thing about Samoa Joe is that you can lay out his entire career, and every 2 weeks he has, like, the best match of the Indies. Like, he's just 100%. That good. He's just that good.
It's just a shame that WWE told me that he's washed and he's injury prone and he shouldn't be on television anymore.
And it's a different WWE when they let Joe slip through their fingers 4 years ago, whenever the hell that was, or 3 years ago,
Good thing they'd never do that with, like, Swerve or any other people, like the other dozen or so people he can name.
I bet you I'd be willing to bet that WWE now, within the last, like, month, especially with whatever regime changes you want to believe are going on at WWE, if Vince really is gone, whatever, that I bet you they're kicking themselves that they lost Swerve.
They have to.
Absolutely. Yeah, for sure.
Well, and he was one of the ones that, like, Tony Khan flipped out about getting tampered with, right? They reached back out.
Yep.
So
there was the rumors of that, yeah.
Allegedly, right. So that guy, we can all agree, he is the coolest. End of the day, Swerve should be next up in any position. Yep. Except for the Western Triple Crown.
I was going to say Swerve or Samoa Joe as your next AEW champion, and you have to pick one, and it can't be the other one's going to win it like 2 months later.
Joe is next.
Yeah, it's tough because Joe's already lined up, so I would say Joe is next.
So my thought was Swerve, like Max somehow beats Joe. Swerve beats Max for the title at Revolution, I believe is in March. And then the foregone conclusion, I feel like a lot of people are saying Ospreay's going to win that belt at Wembley next year. Like a main event of Swerve, Ospreay at Wembley, that'd be pretty fucking good.
I wouldn't doubt, like, I'm so sure of that happening. Like, I wouldn't doubt that wasn't part of Ospreay's contract, that he's main event of that show. And again, to draw this parallel, like when Sid signed with WWF in 1991, part of his contract was he was main eventing the next WrestleMania with Hulk Hogan.
Damn right.
Right.
And they needed to do something to drag Swerve away from that lucrative NXT offer he was getting, or Ospreay from that lucrative NXT offer he was getting of player coach.
Right. $4.5 million a year.
Right. AJ Styles was going to teach him how to slow down.
Oh, my
God.
Somebody fire up the NXT random name generator and figure out what Will Ospreay's NXT name was going to be.
Oh.
So, I think Ospreay carries enough cachet that he could have got away with not getting his name fucked with.
Maybe, but weren't they flirting with the idea of like trying to change Jade Cargill's name? I get it, she's not Will Ospreay, but I don't know.
That I don't know. Like Jade Cargill, I felt like was a wholly formed person. And listen, Jade Cargill, Will Ospreay, these are not Brian Pillman Jr.'s, right?
Oh, well, what is?
Don't get me started. I was working on some production this week, and there might have been some jingles sent your way, Joe, and there was no Lexus King on this week's NXT. I'm very fucking sad.
There was Lexus King.
I didn't see it.
He interfered in the match with Trick. He came out and caused a distraction.
Oh, I was looking for like either a match or a vignette or
no. He just came out in the entranceway, caused a distraction, and caused Trick Williams to lose, Carmelo Hayes to lose, like somebody from that grouping to lose to Brooks Jensen. Are these people?
That sounds made up.
It's definitely one of the guys in the blue jeans, and I think it was Carmelo Hayes. I saw the clip. I don't watch NXT anymore.
I'm mad that I missed that now, but how is his beard? Did his hair look great too?
Well, I sent you that picture that he put up on social media.
All right, stay tuned. We'll be maybe more on this next week, but
so listen, you guys mentioned the Continental Classic, and my thoughts and my feelings on it have changed from the time that it got announced to the time that we got our first couple names announced for it, to the time that Eddie decided I'm going to put all the fucking belts on the line in it, to the time that the full field got announced. I think Brett and DJ in the Discord kind of worked everyone into a shoot that it's going to be Mox and Kingston in the finals, which makes a lot of sense.
Right.
There was a time when I was thinking it was going to be Daniel Garcia, but outside of like Jay Lethal and Brody King, not a knock on Brody King, like technically I would not be upset with any of the other 10 people winning this thing.
I agree. Jay Lethal's the only one for me that I'm all set over here, brother. But yeah, this is such like a cool stacked tournament. Showing the matches that they did last night. I definitely thought Jay Lethal was going to beat Swerve because they tried to hammer home the point like Swerve had this brutal match just a few days ago, and then Swerve just chumps Jay Lethal anyway. But that Moxley and Mark Briscoe match was fucking awesome. Even Switchblade and Roosh was awesome. Like, so it's a good start to the tournament. And yeah, like, I don't think I'll be mad at anybody winning. I just don't want Jay Lethal. That's all.
Yeah, I'm just sad that like we have a very low chance of Eddie Kingston retaining his 2 belts. Like we could say, okay, it'll be great if Eddie Kingston goes to this tournament and wins it. But as you guys pointed out, there's a lot of really good names in there. You know, Danielson, Claudio, Switchblade, you know, Swerve, like all those people that we would be fine with winning the tournament. But if they win it, that means Eddie loses the Ring of Honor title. He loses the New Japan Strong title. And like in that, it's kind of sad.
Right. So, I will agree with you guys. Like anybody other than Lethal, I'm not going to be upset about. My heart is set on Eddie. We talk about it on our show all the time. Like Eddie and I share the almost exact same favorite wrestlers, right? Terry Funk and the Four Pillars. So, knowing the Triple Crown being my favorite belt in all Japan, the prospect of Eddie Kingston being able to hold a Triple Crown, even though it's the Western quote unquote Triple Crown, I think is too good of an opportunity to pass up. Especially Wrestle Kingdom coming up. I think there's a lot of office dynamics, and Eddie said this in the announcement thing when they did the thing on YouTube with Tony Khan and Tony Schiavone. Eddie was like, you got to clarify these things. I've been getting a lot of calls from a lot of different offices about how I didn't explain what was happening the right way. So there's a lot of politicking under who New Japan is going to want to be their strong champion, because you are a champion in all three when you have these belts, right? Technically. I want Eddie to have a match as champion at Wrestle Kingdom. I want Eddie to wrestle in the dome in front of a full Tokyo Dome. That is personal preference. But I think there's a really good case for it. I think him Mox is a really good case because we've never officially paid off Mox siding with Claudio.
Yep.
And so the case is there, and Eddie never lets anything drop. So like that will be fresh in his mind again, and it will be a crazy cool match in New York on the pay-per-view. That being said, even though my heart is almost in every situation backed behind Eddie, there is even Lethal. I don't want Lethal to win, but like Lethal's not a schlub. Lethal will put on some really good matches. I had a conversation with a guy this week on Twitter while Dynamite was happening, and I tried to be, I don't know who he is, I tried to be as nice as possible to him because it was through our show Twitter at We Need Wrestling. And he was like, Tony Khan lied to me. He said this was the biggest tournament ever, and there would be 12 stars in this tournament. And he's like, and they're not all 12 stars. Garcia's a joke. And this guy, why not have Jericho and Wardlow and blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, and he goes, and Tony Khan said this was going to be the best tournament ever. And it's not going to be that. And I'm like, brother, hyperbole, right? You want Tony Khan to come out on TV and be like, it's like 80-20 stars to shitheads. Like, what do you expect? And I like everybody. I don't have a real problem other than, and again, I keep saying other than Lethal, but like, I don't have a problem with anybody in here. I think this is one of the best stacked tournaments we've seen. I think there's so many combinations of cool matches and potential finals and all that sort of stuff that this is going to be a ton of fun to watch. But I did have this conversation. I was like, dude, you're not going to like everybody ever involved in anything in professional wrestling. So just skip who you don't like. Right. But I'm super pumped about this thing. I just will be like a tiny little bit upset if Eddie doesn't win. Just a little bit.
And I am glad. I think we worried, at least I did, and maybe I'm misremembering, that like every single Eddie match, I thought his titles were on the line. So like I was like, oh, he's got to go undefeated through the whole thing. But I think they established this week on Dynamite that it's just like, okay, the winner of this tournament is the next champion.
Right. That was at when they did the announcement at show on YouTube at like 1 o'clock Wednesday. That was when Eddie, when he first cut the promo, he sort of said it in a way that you would think that he's defending the belts every time. And then they clarified that it's just whoever wins the finals holds the three belts. That's just what it is.
Yeah, I was worried there was going to be a little hot potato of like the Ring of Honor belt, where it might have switched a couple times in the tournament.
Right. That's a little too messy. I don't think AEW can manage that at this moment.
Yeah.
Wouldn't put it past them to try.
True.
So listen, we can sit here. There's a bunch of other stuff to talk about, certainly. But, we still do have a rest of a show to do. And Brett and DJ, did you guys know there's a pay-per-view this weekend?
There is.
There is.
Saints kicking down to the ring. Is Kofi Kingston doing his thing? Ruby
Soho.
on the show.
Brian Danielson.
No. Is it the
Tribal Chief.
yard? Let's find out.
Brett and DJ. Yes, this was thrown at me by Adam. I didn't have enough time to go and fiddle with this and edit this and so on and so forth. But when he put in the email, he's like, "Oh, let's see if Brett and DJ know the card this weekend." So, Adam.
Yes. I felt bad. I was going to message DeWiki at noon on Thanksgiving and be like, "Hey, by the way, I need you to remix this to have DJ in there." But according to Wikipedia, the most trusted source of all wrestling news and information, the World Wrestling Entertainment is holding the premium live event Survivor Series War Games this weekend. And there are 5 announced matches. Can you believe that? 5. Go to your local cable operator and order this pay-per-view. Brett and DJ, do you know the card?
Brett, I need you to do the heavy lifting here.
I was just saying default to me here.
But I can do at least one. I can do one.
All right.
Well, the women's
war
one
out of the way.
The women's War Games match is all of Damage Control minus Dakota Kai because she's hurt.
Yep.
So that's right. That's Io, Kyrie, Asuka, and Bayley.
Correct.
Versus Charlotte, Becky, Bianca, and Shotzi Blackheart.
There you go. That's one.
I'm so proud of you.
Thanks, buddy.
Noted regular WWE watcher, Brett and DJ.
Member of the WWE Universe, DJ.
I also know that Cody Rhodes is in the men's, and so is the returning Scary Snake Man, because Cody Rhodes said, "I have a friend, and I'm going to call an old friend." And everybody's like, "It's going to be Phil." And it's not Phil. It's a different kind of snake.
Oh.
It's
Phil has no friends.
How? Number one, how dare you?
And number 2, where do I get off?
Where do you get off, you son of a bitch?
So I don't know if you guys saw, but Cody all throughout that show, and I didn't see it, but I saw it on Twitter. He says, "Okay, I have a friend," and then it was "This is a guy I have a legacy with," and he winks into the camera. And then later on, he's like, "No, you're not hearing voices in your head." And I'm like, "Oh my god, this is fucking baby shit! Who enjoys this? This is so bad."
I guarantee you, Cody Rhodes enjoyed it.
Oh, it was so bad.
I really liked all Cody's promos to build this up.
Oh, you're part of the problem.
Right? You're going soft.
And then he doesn't show up. It's not like Randy Orton. They're saving him for the pay-per-view. He couldn't be bothered. Oh, but I'm sorry. Go ahead. Yes, Cody's in War Games. Go.
Brett, that's all I got.
All right. Yes. So, listen, that ham-fisted fuck Cody Rhodes. That promo's so bad. So, all right, men's War Games, we have Cody Rhodes, Jey Uso, Sami Zayn, Seth Rollins, and the return to Viperville, the Scary Snake Man himself, Randy Orton, going up against Judgment Day, which is Finn Balor. Who's that little snaky-looking fuck? He is
Randy Orton.
The one. I was just saying the one with real life problems.
I'll help you out there.
Okay, thank you so much.
Was he Noam Dar?
No, he was. No, Noam Dar is still Noam Dar.
Oh, okay.
He was Jordan Devlin.
Oh, right.
The Irish Ace. Damian Priest. Who DJ doesn't hate anymore.
I don't. I did see him do a video about his back tattoo this week, and I was like, "Bro, it's not great." But it's neither here nor there.
Who the fuck? Oh, Dominic Mysterio and Drew McIntyre.
There you go. That's War Games number 2.
Now, if I could just interject, why is the men's War Games 5-on-5 and the women's 4-on-4?
Dude, I don't understand that either. What, you couldn't find 2 other ladies?
And no, they can't. They're all walking in background segments on NXT. And there was a match on Raw to determine who gets the advantage in the men's War Game. Did you see how they're determining the women's advantage in the War Games match?
They draw straws.
Bra and panties match.
Oh, all right, I'm back in.
No. Go to ruffles.com and vote for which team you think should get the advantage in the women's War Games match.
What is ruffles.com?
Potato chips.
Oh, Jesus Christ.
That's the sponsor for the match.
Not everything can be a Mountain Dew pitch black match. That's for goddamn sure. All right, let's see. Oh my God, this is gonna be real tough. So this one is like the most random one, which I remember because I saw a weird flyer for it. If I'm wrong, whatever. Rhea Ripley defending the title against Zoe Stark.
That is correct and very confusing, but yes.
Yeah, I hate myself for knowing that. Is there Gunther versus The Miz?
There is, because I saw the internet saying that we should all respect The Miz this week, so I knew he had to have a pay-per-view match.
Believably, that match is going to go 30 seconds, right?
Well, yeah, because Miz didn't go to house shows, bro, so how could he be a real fan? Oh my God,
the Miz Gunther promo was really good. You should go watch it. Gunther comes off as a real big asshole in the promo, mostly because he's wearing a suit and loafers with no socks.
Oh, and what a look!
He looked like such an asshole, and I'm like, I wanted the Miz to shut him up. Ooh, punch him right in his dirty mouth butt.
Gunther's promo was really good. Miz showed babyface fire. It should absolutely be a squish, but they did a good job, like taking like 2 weeks or whatever the hell it was to build up that match.
All right, one more announced match, Brett.
Oh my God. Well, LA Knight's not doing anything because he's shuffled back down the card, right?
Exactly. This is one of the alleged Big Four pay-per-views, and maybe that's an old school mentality that doesn't exist anymore, but this is Survivor Series, and LA Knight nowhere to be seen.
Either is the fucking world
champion.
I do know this. It's Santos Escobar, that dirty son of a bitch, against Carlito.
That is correct. That is your fifth and final announced match.
Yeah.
There's no way in hell I would have been able to guess that fifth match.
No, why is he?
Santos versus Ray would have been my guess if I wasn't looking at the list, you know?
Ray's hurt.
Ray's hurt. He had 48 surgeries on his right knee. Yeah, so, I mean, I'm going to watch a little bit of the pay-per-view.
You could not pay me to watch.
Oh, not even the War Games matches?
No. This is going head-to-head with 3 hours of Collision and Rampage.
Oh.
Rampage starts at 7 on Saturday, and then Collision is 8 to 10.
Well, might have to. I am a collider, an OG collider. Yeah. So, how
what if the man who Collision was made for, because he's just as much as a baby as the rest of the EVPs, that he had to have his special little bubble show that nobody else can touch his fragile bird bones? What if he shows up at your Survivor Series while you're sitting at home watching, like, I don't know, Tony Storm, like, cut a promo on Sky Blue or something?
Yes, please.
So what will happen is it'll be a seismic shift, and WWE will gain all the power because all the philanthropists and the Felicia, we will turn on the cock. Yes, we will be cock strong, and let's go, Phil. We love you, buddy.
Who's this week? You got a mouse in your pocket?
Come on now.
Oh,
I will turn on the pay-per-view if I hear the Phil's there, because that means the WWE won wrestling. They won wrestling.
Yeah.
Hasn't there been like a bunch of like cryptic promos from Shinsuke Nakamura of him challenging someone, and people have been speculating that that's going to be the Phil match, him versus Nakamura at Survivor Series?
So people have been saying that, but they're also like, "Oh, that's him like throwing it out to Okada," and I'm like, "Oh, go the fuck away."
Is this the pay-per-view that's in Chicago?
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh, yep. Rosemont, Illinois, Chicago suburb. Looking at something new. Yeah, Phil ain't showing up. Fucking everybody relax.
I miss you, Phil.
So, hey, what do you guys want? Do you guys want phone calls or do you want the Terry Funk moment of the week?
Well, just so everyone knows, we're not taking a trip to Japan this week because there wasn't much going on. So we're not going to bog this down. I know Adam's heartbroken. He had a lot to talk about when he watched Tanahashi, Ishii, and Okada defend the six-man neverweight titles against Hanma, Ren Narita, and the greatest professional wrestler on the planet, Taguchi.
I have pages of notes here, and you're going to cut the segment.
But we're
collapsible seg, Adam.
It's collapsible this week. Tune in next week, and we'll see what the hell's going on over there. There's a bunch of tag leagues, and they're only okay.
I say we do Terry Funk moment of the week.
All right.
All right. So this takes us back, and again, I know you guys don't introduce these sort of things, but this takes us back to 1989. Terry Funk has just attacked Ric Flair after the hard-fought battle with Ricky Steamboat to regain the world title, but Terry Funk has been out of action for a very long time, and he needs to work his way through the top 10 contenders.
You can have a moment. I had a moment with him last week.
Yeah, you sure did.
He was the star of the show last week. Now it's time for you to spend some time with me.
Yeah, no.
In fact, let me spend some time with this young man, and you just stand back.
Will you just let us get on with it?
Now, you're a fine-looking young gentleman. I want you to tell me just one thing. Who is the better wrestler, Ric Flair or me? And I'm sure that you think Flair is.
Well, y'all both top competitors. I got to hand y'all that, but I think you're the top competitor.
Did you hear that?
I heard him.
So let's go into this now. Why am I not into the top 10? So you think I am a better man? Do you think I should be in the top 10?
Yes, I think you ought to be in the top 10.
Do you think I should be the number one contender?
Yeah, I think you ought to be the number one contender.
He doesn't rate him, Terry.
Let me tell you something. Flattery will get you nowhere.
Oh!
Well, yeah.
Terry, good night. A quick guy. You come out here and put the pile driver.
That boy doesn't even belong in wrestling. How can he possibly?
You're talking about him not belonging in wrestling. I'm not sure you belong in wrestling. I'm tired of looking at this. Let's get somebody out. Get this stopped. Let's go to Joe Pedicino nose right now. Terry, that's the lowest. He came out here and grabbed the guy by the leg last week. Yeah.
He looks too much like Ric Flair. Everybody looks too much like Ric Flair. I don't need a kid like this anymore.
You look like somebody that the white guys in the white jackets ought to be coming to get you. The fans, man, Joe Pedicino nose.
So, I don't know if you guys saw that clip going around today on social media.
I didn't. It's excellent.
Do you know who that young man is that Terry Funk beat up?
I have no idea.
That would be a young Dwayne Bruce, who you would know better as Sarge from the World Championship Wrestling Power Plant.
No shit.
Yep.
Wow.
Whoa.
Imagine Terry Funk really put him out of wrestling in that moment. We would have never got Goldberg.
We also never would have gotten High Voltage.
That's true. Also, DJ, as the Terry Funk expert amongst us, what the fuck was that Terry was wearing on his head?
Well, so I was going to bring this up, right? I love Terry in like the black chaps. He's got the red tights underneath it, and Terry Funk is a legend. and the best to ever do it, and the greatest cowboy wrestler in the history of wrestling. When Terry Funk throws on a do-rag, it's a different animal. It's just it is a different kind of guy. You combine the do-rag with the braids that he used to have, whole other level. But the do-rag tied twice on both ends of the back, I don't know how he does it. But it's great, and it's just a different level of Terry.
And can I just say, like, when I listen to you guys, We Need Wrestling, and I listen to the Terry Funk Moment of the Week, obviously I am such a neophyte when it comes to Terry Funk. Like, a lot of those clips, I've never heard them before, so it's the first time I'm hearing them. And you guys, like, I don't want to blow smoke up your ass, but you are making me even more appreciate Terry Funk every single week with those clips. So thank you for those.
That's the goal, man. That is the fucking goal.
Because, like, I've seen so little. You know, I know the big hits, and I know the ECW stuff and the WWE stuff, but a lot of those older clips, like obviously the one Joe just played, I've never seen those before, and they're all fucking awesome.
They are. I have, we sort of, there's no real rhyme or reason. When we do them, we just pick stuff we like. We sort of rotate back and forth. And like, I haven't even got to my favorite Terry stuff yet. Like, obviously the 89 feud is my favorite feud of all time, so that's mixed in there. But I have a few specific throughout the ages Terry promos that are my absolute favorite, that were at one point even hard to find on the internet, that I can't wait to get to. Probably save them for special dates, birthdays, whatever. Sure. But not everybody is 100%, but like Terry Funk rarely missed. And I have stuff from the 70s, the early 80s, the end of the 80s, the 90s. Like, he hit every time he went out there. And I'm glad you're really enjoying them, because my goal in life as a wrestling fan is to spread the Terry. I'm like the Johnny Appleseed of Terry Funk. I'm just spreading Funk all over wherever I can, and hope that the seeds grow. For a man who truly, in my opinion, I say this all the time on the show, undeniably the best to ever do it.
Yeah, and I say all the time, like, I actively, and some of it's a bit, but like, I actively hate old wrestling, but Terry Funk stuff, for whatever reason, like, I fucking love it. So kudos.
And this, sorry, go ahead, Brett.
No, I was just going to say, I thought DJ was more like the Wilt Chamberlain of spreading the seed of Terry Funk all over the land.
So, DJ mentioned the 89 feud with Flair is, his favorite, and I would say that's probably, it may not be like my favorite, but it's like 1B, but it culminates in maybe my favorite match, which is the I Quit match at the Clash of Champions later.
It's my favorite match of all time, hands down.
Right. Yeah. So there was something about Terry Funk, especially during this era, but like, you can look at really any period of his career, but like, I really think the 89 stuff shines such a light on it that he was doing, like, we played the 1989 Survivor Series stuff before, and like, bright colors, over the top characters, everything else like this. Terry Funk was doing the same thing in NWA. Like, he does this bit. This leads to the more famous promo where he brings the guy dressed up as Ric Flair with the yellow streak down his back. Yep. He's doing heavy sports entertainment stuff in this build, but what makes it so different is that when he has matches, he's vicious and he feels dangerous. And, obviously I felt great about getting to play 2 Lance Russell segments on the show today, and Lance is one of those guys that, like, just even that throwaway line to Terry, like, you're acting like somebody who needs to be taken away by the guys in the white coats. Like, that does more than commentators barking during an entire Terry Funk match. Oh, he's crazy. He's out of his mind. He can't be stopped, or whatever it is. But somebody with that gravitas and that respect that someone like a Lance Russell has to say a line like that to Terry Funk, and just adds to all of it. And all of that 89 stuff is so good. All these promos, Sting being the champion of washing machines and stuff like that, which is a promo that comes up later. But Terry walked that fine line of being dangerous and real, and also a larger than life cartoon character.
Yeah,
that few people in wrestling can do believably.
He's 45 years old in 89. He's 44. He turns 45.
The same age that Bob Backlund was when he won the title in 1994.
Right.
That's so amazing.
And he, and we've talked about this in the show, but like he cuts such good promos that Flair gets mad at him in 89. And legit, like, writes the offices and like is like, why is Terry shooting on me on TV and why are you allowing it? And then Terry's also gets hurt. So he's the famous story around this point, around this time, whenever he had to fly anywhere, he would kneel on the floor of the plane with his elbows on the seat because his back was so bad he couldn't sit for that long.
Yep.
And then he got a really bad arm infection and did not want to come off the road. Gary Hart forced him off the road because his arm started to smell.
Oh. They do the angle at the Clash of Champions where he does the bag,
which also gets banned from television and all that crazy stuff.
Right, but that was set up to give him a suspension, to give him that time off the road that he needed. Yeah,
but he was like, "We're on top. We're making too much money. I can't leave now." And that it's just 89 it's on both sides too, because 89 WWF is also great. Like 89 is such a crazy year of professional wrestling.
Especially the back half of 89 for WWF from summer. And granted, okay, it's Zeus, right?
Right.
But Zeus is the one shining example of the thing that doesn't hold up in WWF in 1989. Everything else does.
Right.
Yeah.
When does 89 line up day and date? We can start comparing stuff. Shit. All right. Hey, let's get to some phone calls, huh?
Let's do it.
Hey, Joe and Adam, what's happening? It's your buddy Kenny, first time, long time. Great show last week. I was dying pretty much the entire time. It was hilarious. Hope you like clips, motherfucker. Anyway, this is a phone call that should have been on last week's episode when Joe was in Weekly Purchases and mentioned something about going to see the Foo Fighters in a concert that was on a beach in New Jersey.
Yeah.
I was actually at that little Foo Fighters concert in Jersey, which is why I wasn't able to get my Bloody Yuta figure sign number 3, third ever, and then have him make an Allen Iverson joke on it, like practice or something. But anyway, Foo Fighters, second night of this festival, they were good. The system itself, the sound wasn't so great. I think they blew up something the night before. It was a 2-day festival. So the sound wasn't so great, and if you're cool with Asa hearing Dave Grohl do a swear like every other word, sure, yeah, go see the Foo Fighters. Have a good time. That's a good time. And weekly purchases, your figures will be bought. Anyway, job bless, walk into my blessed Mark of Walls, and it's usually pretty lousy as far as the figs go. Swing by, and I come through, and what do I see? A very evil, very basic, very elite Danhausen, which I was super psyched about, been a fan of him since the production. And then right next to that, a Chase, 1 of 5,000, Bunny, case fresh, minty mint, out in the wild, whoop whoop, job bless, have a great week.
You actual son of a bitch, what a fucking pull.
There's a lot to unfold here.
Yeah.
Yeah, how dare he not address us, Brett?
God, Kenny.
Well, I assume Kenny didn't know it was a joint show when he sent that call. That's probably what it was.
Kenny called, we'd announced it. We did say it on the show, but listen, people don't pay attention to what the fuck we say.
Yeah, most of our callers don't even listen to the podcast, to be honest,
Yeah, it's all out of love. Kenny, I did see the Foo Fighters on a beach once. They played a Bamboozle festival many moons ago. I think it was in Asbury Park. They played for 2.5 hours, and I like the Foo Fighters, but anybody playing that long, it's I'm all set.
Yeah, and about Asa hearing swears, his mother doesn't stop swearing, so he'll be fine with hearing Dave Grohl say it.
What a potty mouth on that woman.
Yeah. But That's an amazing fucking pull, finding a goddamn bunny chase in the wild, you son of a bitch. I wonder what Kenny's going to do with it. I don't know if he is a bunny aficionado, if he's going to flip it. I am curious to find out what he's going to do with that. If he's looking to sell it at a good brother price, maybe slide into my DMs, you know?
So, hey, I'll bring up an interesting subject. And again, you know, obviously you guys are a little bit more doll crazy than I am.
Yeah.
But if I was out in the wild and I saw the bunny chase, I'd grab it.
Absolutely.
I'd good brother price it to one of you guys.
Yeah, 100%.
You know, like, I have no need for that figure, but, like, I don't know, you see a chase, you get it. Like, I think those are the rules.
Do not leave a chase on the fucking pegs if it's an AEW. That's just asinine, you know?
Right.
Like,
and then it's cost plus $19 for bubble wrap. That's
I know. I saw the price of bubble wrap is up to $12 a roll now.
Expensive. Gotta watch yourself.
When did bubble wrap become a business?
Oh, yeah. But like you guys know, like I've talked about on the podcast, like there is nobody in the soon-to-be-named network or that listens to the fucking soon-to-be-named network that goes on more doll safaris than I do. And over the course of like the last 5 years, I found a chase. So like the chances of finding a chase are so slim and none for the most part. So kudos to Kenny for finding that. You know, that's awesome.
And one more thing, well, two more things before we get on to the next call. One, how about on Major Pod this week that Broski said, and you said no one more than you. I'd say Broski's got you beat in how much doll safaring he's done, and he's never found a chase in the wild.
Well, Broski, I will say, beats me in a variety of stores because obviously he's hitting stores all around the country.
Right.
I can guarantee you I beat him on a frequency basis.
Okay.
Just because it's like I assume Broski only hits stores like when he's on the road over the weekend, and I might I might go to stores, I don't know, 10 times a week because I got nothing else going on. I don't know. We'll see.
And
I don't know
and
if
I
you'll
love
ever
for that.
You're welcome. I'm just finding shit for other people because I never find anything for myself.
And Kenny mentioned Danhausen.
Yeah. Hey, look at that.
Hey, Danhausen. Hey.
I mean, I'll say this.
I'm leaving it out there for anybody who wants to hang themselves.
I will. I'll do it because I'm on my fourth 24-ounce beer right now. So I'll do it right now.
Ooh.
I like Danhausen. I'm happy he's back. I am very much entertained by his on-screen behavior. Whether or not he's easily gotten to on Twitter, I don't care. You know, like I'm happy he's back.
Of all the characteristics to gleam off of your best friend Phil, it's the fact that you are critically gotten to on the social media.
He's a friend of Phil, so he's a friend of me.
He's very nice. He's very evil. He's back on TV. He's friends with Orange Cassidy, so he's okay by me.
I always found Danhausen entertaining. You know, I'm not mad. I mean, he's definitely a paranoid motherfucker, but, you know,
right.
To each their own.
Yeah.
And who knows how many washes it's going to take before the designs peel off the T-shirts he was selling. Allegedly.
Oh, there, thank you. I will say this. When the story started making the rounds, like, after we all recorded last week, and again, the prevailing story was that Danhausen's push/return to TV was canceled because he was caught selling bootleg merchandise, unlicensed merchandise, uncredited merchandise, pro wrestling tees designs that were made somehow cheaper than pro wrestling tees designs are made.
How is that possible to undercut pro wrestling tees?
Right. So none of the story made a lick of sense. Danhausen, a guy who has wrestled less times in his AEW career than Sting did in his WWE career, has more merch than anyone in the roster, a more variety of merch than anyone in the roster, constantly having stuff going out directly through Pro Wrestling Tees, has had multiple deals from his coffee to variant comic covers to all sorts of things for months, if not years. So the story made no sense whatsoever. So I'm kind of glad that Danhausen kind of pushed back on people a little bit that were saying it. But then while he and his wife were sitting at home from the pay-per-view and they were liking negative tweets about the company, that's a little shitty. Yeah. But I guess he was frustrated, and that's how you need to take your frustrations out. And who am I to judge? But like when the story was told to me, I'm like, this story makes absolutely no sense. This feels like bullshit. And apparently it turned out to be bullshit because he was back on TV this week in a prime position and, you know, kind of sort of near his hometown, like Michigan and Chicago are the same place, right?
I think what they need to do to set an example for all these AEW wrestlers that are liking anti-AEW tweets, they need to fucking throw somebody under the bus. Go ahead and fire Kevin Kelly.
Thank you.
Yeah, I agree, Adam.
And then maybe people will learn to not like these tweets.
So they should just Photoshop a picture of Kevin Kelly in the parking lot at the Prudential Center selling $5 T-shirts after the show.
No, you could just share all the anti-AEW tweets of Jim Cornette that he likes.
Oh boy.
Yeah.
Ugh.
Anyway, thanks for your call, Kenny.
Yeah, love you, Kenny.
Next call.
Hello, gentlemen. Kevin here. Full house tonight. Looking forward to hearing this jam-packed show with Joe, Adam, Brett, and DJ. Hope you guys all had a great Thanksgiving. I hope you have things to be thankful for. And just, you know, Thanksgiving's kind of end of the year. We start thinking of things and taking stock of our lives and all. So I'm just curious, especially with our two guests here this evening. What is something that you're thankful for this year that did not exist in your life last year? Okay, and let's go pop culture route for it. Comics, wrestling, music, something like that. For me, thanks to a sister show on the soon-to-be-named network, Longbox Heroes, perhaps you guys have heard of it.
I know that show.
I read Sandman for the first time this year, and I'm very thankful for it, and it will not be the last time I read it. So, gentlemen, if you could think of anything that you have enjoyed this year, that it doesn't have to be brand new, just something that did not exist in your life last year. Looking forward to the show. Looking forward to so much more from all of you. Hope it was a good holiday. Have a great rest of the holiday season, guys. Oh, and what's coming up on Patreon? Find out. Bye.
Well, it's another week of no Patreon because of the pay-per-view this week. So Adam's pick gets pushed back, and we'll do the full Patreon plug as soon as we're done with the phone calls, right?
Yeah, absolutely. We got a big weekend of Patreon coming up, but more on that later. Brett and DJ, something you're thankful for?
Something that wasn't in my life last year? Damn. DJ, you go first. I gotta think.
So I don't know. I'm trying to figure out the timeline of it. When did the Hogan Terry Funk Coliseum Collection Ultimates drop? Was that this calendar year?
That was this year.
It was this year.
Okay. So aside from my personal life, you know, I'm very, very proud of my wife, Michelle, sometimes guest soon, the Royal Rumbler, soon to be featured once again during Royal Rumble season. On We Need Wrestling. I'm very proud of her and her endeavors this year, which is a huge change from the year before and a lot of sacrifices and time. But a purely personal, selfish reason, I got 3 new Terry Funk action figures this year and a Mattel Target display with Terry Funk on it.
Yeah.
So as far as that sort of what it wasn't in my life, Terry Funk, although he's no longer with us this year, I did manage to get 3 Terry Funk action figures this year, which is wild. So, well, two Terry Funks and a Chainsaw Charlie.
Plus, there was a micro brawler this year that you got, the bloody one.
That was this year too. Jeez.
Yep. Yeah, this has been a huge year because I not only have bought all of the new ones, but I also went back and I got the Elite ECW one and a couple other. I got the the Jack's Classic Superstars this year as well. So
nice, great.
Yeah, so you and I have both got all of the new ones, and I've gone back and got some of the older ones as well.
Cool.
So I guess I'll go with I'm thankful to see Eddie Kingston get all the love in the world. And what I mean by that is, going over to Japan, being beloved over there, winning a New Japan title, winning a world title with the Ring of Honor title. I know collectively as a group, we've all been Team Eddie for a very long time. So it's very, very cool to see somebody really get that love. So I'm thankful for that. Personal life, I don't know, man. My life don't fucking change. I'm a single dude who's 34. I do nothing. So I'm going with Eddie.
I will say I'm thankful for Joe for reaching out and doing all these Patreon Conversations with Joe podcasts. Cha-ching. Thank you for that. On a personal level, I will say that I am thankful for the advancements made over the last year in women's wrestling gear, whether it be Sky Blue, Tony Storm, honestly, Julia Hart, the list goes on and on. Thank you to the men and women who tirelessly just work over that gear, and the seamstresses and the designers. Kudos to all of them.
So, I'm thankful for a lot of people in my family doing better health-wise, finally taking some of the steps that they needed to do so, and therefore me, by the grace of God, go I as well. Once everybody else is kind of cleaned up and bill of health and everything else, it's time for the real test for these doctors. This mess, right? But again, that's still a little ways off, but still, we're all taking baby steps here. But, obviously, you guys, there's a lot of different things that we can all talk about in wrestling and, whatever the media and stuff that we consume. But, in this last year, these last 12 calendar months, I got 2 matches that I never thought I'd see in my entire life. One involving Orange Cassidy, the other one involving Eddie Kingston. And we all know who's to thank for those matches. I'm letting it play.
Let it ride.
It's a shorter version of it. But I got one more, too. I got a lot of things to be thankful for my wrestling fandom. Listen, we've all been wrestling fans our lives. Some of us have dipped out and come back in. And I'm always going to be here no matter what, right? I may not watch the mainstream stuff. I might replace it with indie stuff during the time. And right now, I'd say the 2 big mainstream promotions are doing well. And, there was one person that I kind of got into and everybody else has come along. And I looked at that as when a lot of people left in 94 and 95 when wrestling was shit and then got hot again in 96 and 97, I was still here waiting for you. I'm like, come on back. Still good. It's just a different kind of good. And a lot of that is the fandom around this man.
Oh, God damn it. No.
Yeah.
I'm letting the whole thing play. No.
Yeah.
But I was on board with LA Knight. Yes, did I work myself into a shoot because I thought it was ridiculous that he was the Hollywood multi-megastar from Hagerstown, Maryland? Yes. But then, you saw him getting those skits in NXT and starting to get over and really working hard. And listen, no one's ever going to say that he's going to have a 5-star match, but he was a guy whose life dream was to be in WWE, and he made it. And, the Bray Wyatt stuff, of course, happens. And, then everything that happens there, and he gets a bunch of start and stop pushes, and I'm there the whole time, and I'm like, it's going to work out. It's going to work out. And, he got me to watch my first Blood Oil Money show, and main event against Roman. And I'm sure on SmackDown tomorrow, they're going to work out something for him to get on, Survivor Series this weekend. He's one of their biggest stars. He's on the side of the truck. He's got more merchandise on WWEshop.com, outside of, Roman and Cody. It's LA Knight, right? And, 6 months ago, who would have thought we would have been here? A year ago, who would have thought we would have been here? 2 years ago, who would have thought we would have been here? Just me. But I'm glad to have you all aboard anyway. I don't care. I don't care if I was the first one, and I don't care if I'll be the last one. I just want everyone to come along. The more people that like the things that I like means that they'll keep doing and making the things that I like.
Well, I mean, if you really meant that, you would buy the glasses. That's all I'm saying.
They would not fit on my giant head. I have a giant J.D. McDonough, Jerry Seinfeld-esque head. I would need to get 2 pairs of glasses. I would need to take them to a specialty welder. I'd have to get prescription lenses in them. It's a lot of work.
Yeah. Put them in a detolf. Put them on a shelf. Next call.
Pink button time. It's young Ed.
Hey, Joe and Adam, it's Ed.
How dare he?
So I woke up this morning, and one of the first things I see is a gif of Adam Page sliding under Swerve's head, who was a faucet of blood, and then him catching it in his mouth. And I said, holy shit, I gotta fucking watch this. So I watched my first AEW match forever, and that shit was fucking fantastic. Holy shit. And I said it on Twitter, and this isn't just Twitter talk. I swear to God, I was screaming. I threw shit. I was so excited. That match was just for me. It was so perfect, and I don't know that I'll ever see another wrestling match that perfect again. That was so fucking good. Joe, Adam, that was so fucking good. Oh my God. I wish every AEW show could have. If there's that match on every show, I would watch this shit more often. But that was fantastic ghoulery. Big fan. Big fan. So I have a question, and I want to know, is there a match, or do you remember the last time that a match got you so excited that you were yelling and throwing shit? Because the last time I remember before that was Hook's debut, because it just, that shit came out of nowhere, and that was exciting. So I think that was the last time. But that was really, really, really great shit. Wow. Swerve is so fucking good. Joe, when I saw that there were real staples in his pecs, I fucking lost it. It was, oh my God. Oh, TK, baby. I love him. Hey, buddy.
See, on one hand, I'm like, okay, that is a perfect example of how awesome that match was and how great Swerve is and Hangman is, that somebody who doesn't like AEW would watch it and be like, oh my God, that's amazing. But on the other hand, Ed likes a lot of terrible stuff. So I'm a little conflicted. So I don't know how I should feel.
Completely different. But to answer Ed's question, even though he didn't address Brett or I,
shame.
The last time I felt the joy in my heart for professional wrestling, now stay with me, maybe some of you won't agree, I think Brett will, but still to this day puts a big smile on my face, was when Shane McMahon blew both of his legs out and Snoop Dogg took over.
You all right, cuh?
It is arguably the greatest moment in WrestleMania history. It makes me so happy when he slugs the Miz in the face and then does the people's elbow. It is a perfect wrestling moment. I am super impressed to this day by Snoop Dogg, and You All Right, Cuh will go down into the pantheon of wrestling quotes for the day I die.
I think Marcus and I text each other that at least once a week. So yeah, that was quite the moment. I don't know, for me, where I really I've never thrown anything while watching a wrestling match. But getting real fired the fuck up. It wasn't even part, it was the beginning of the match, and God, this is such a fucking stock answer. I apologize, everyone. When Phil came out to AFI against MJF, that was a oh fuck, I'm losing my mind moment.
I feel like the same thing.
Nerd.
Yeah.
You lost your mind too.
Lay off the poor guy. I just feel like the same thing could be said for Danielson with
with
his theme, Final Countdown, Sting with Seek and Destroy. We marked out over all of those.
We really did.
Yeah.
I'd say mine was whatever the Ring of Honor pay-per-view was that they did Eddie versus Claudio, where Eddie lost. Like, that match, like, I was on the edge of my seat the whole time. Like, I legitimately did not know how that was going to go. And that was a very exciting match for me. Not to take anything away from the match at Arthur Ashe when Eddie won, but I feel as though by the time that everything had happened, from the first match that they had to that match, we all knew it was a foregone conclusion that Eddie was winning the match. So there was like a little less suspense in it. I like when there's suspense in wrestling for the people that I care about. You know, I sit here and I joke around, you know, the Double J match at Orange Cassidy, I knew OC was winning. The Double J match with Kingston, I knew Double J was winning to fit the storyline. But with that first Claudio Eddie match, like, it literally could have and should have gone either way. And, you know, nothing makes me happier as a wrestling fan than not knowing.
Yeah.
I'll revamp my answer if we're talking just like a strict wrestling match. I'm going to say it's from the ROH Death Before Dishonor pay-per-view that DJ and I went to when it was Athena versus Willow Nightingale. That match, like, being there live and feeling that building like actually shake for Willow was like one of those fuck yeah, I'm so into this matches. And then Athena won and really bummed me the fuck out.
I assume Ed calls back, and maybe this time he pays some respects to our co-hosts.
Well, he does call back. Whether or not he pays respect is another story.
Hey, Joe and Adam. And Brett and Dee. Sorry, I forgot you guys were on this episode.
All right. Love you, Ed. All's forgiven, Ed.
Hopefully you guys got to talk about how awesome Swerve and Hangman was, too, and you didn't take that call. I only wanted to hear Joe and Adam's opinions on it. But you guys are all together. I had a thought, and I'm going to present it to you. Let's presume, right, that suddenly the soon-to-be-named network is flush with cash, like the whole network, not just me and my show, or where we made a lot of money. And there was soon-to-be-named network pro wrestling, and every show got to put a match on. What shows match me? And also, Marcus and Tim, I'm going to need your answers on your show, and everybody else. I need all of the soon-to-be-named network shows to answer this, because I think for Hayabusa, it would be definitely Kikutaro versus Madman Pondo, and I don't know what that would look like. I would let them figure it out, but I'm sure it would be great. I'm not sure which would be better, getting Kiku to do a death match or getting Pondo to do comedy. I think both seem very, very cool. But not as cool as Hangman versus Swerve. That was one of the coolest matches I've ever fucking seen in my life. Okay, bye!
Well, Brett and DJ, the official match of We Need Wrestling.
DJ, go wake Michelle up for her answer, please.
Do we have to pick one, or do we get to each pick? Because I have one already.
Go ahead, roll with it.
Real quick, just to bring it, Ed, just to let Ed know. Ed, I once watched Madman Pondo try to chain wrestle inside a building, the Staircase Lounge in Pittston, Pennsylvania, at a Chikara show. And before doing a top rope Frankensteiner, looked at the crowd, shrugged his shoulders, and said, "I'm doing the best I can here." I love him to this day for that.
And that was 19 years ago, yes?
It was.
When he was a little bit more spry than he is today.
Right. The first thing that pops in my head, money is limitless. Although Ed went what is half a comedy match that would end up being an entire comedy match, I would book Orange Cassidy versus my hero, my personal close friend, Ryosuke Taguchi.
Solid answer. Now, are we like, can I bring people back from the dead for this answer? It's limitless money, right?
I mean, money is no object.
Fuck it. This is what I'm doing. I need to procure a time machine made by Doug. Doug, get on it, you son of a bitch. For some reason, two of my favorite wrestlers growing up, and I've looked into this and I just never understood why they never had like a a match, like just a good singles match ever. Surfer Sting. So we're talking mid-90s Surfer Sting against like prime heel Bam Bam Bigelow. Like, I don't know why I always wanted that match for some reason. The past it never worked out. Because in his prime, man, Bam Bam like is one of my favorite wrestlers ever. And Surfer Sting, you know, some consider him a great wrestler. Some people consider him a meme. Adam. So yeah, I'm going Surfer Sting against like the heel badass Bam Bam Bigelow.
I was originally going to say I just wanted Miss Hancock to come out, but since you're going to be doing necromancy, I'll have Bobby Heenan on commentary, and that way Miss Hancock can dance in front of Bobby Heenan.
Oh boy.
This is tough. Again, I can go silly, I can go time machine, but I think everybody got whatever. I don't want people doing double duty, but I think based on like where their positions are today, and again, contracts, time, money, whatever is no object, I want Double J versus LA Knight.
Yeah.
You have anything at your disposal, and you're going to go with that.
I'm sitting here thinking to myself, and I'm like, I'd love like some sort of like Eddie Gilbert, like if I could do something perfectly, it'd be like some combination of like Eddie Gilbert, Cactus Jack, Eddie Kingston, and Larry Sweeney. But then I'm like, okay, now we got to pick from specific time frames. 2 of the people are dead. 1 is immobile at this point. So I'm like, let's just keep it simple. You guys are fucking around with time and all sorts of other things. Double J 2023, LA Knight 2023. I think that crowd's going home happy.
Dare I say that's the King of the Mountain Dew Pitch Black match?
Oh, I like that. Well, listen, go ahead.
I was just going to say, you know, you're fantasy booking all these matches, and there's been all of these brackets filled out thanks to Brett and DJ for the Continental Classic tournament. But you guys really should focus on the most important tournament that's going on right now.
The gender-neutral monarch of At Odds Wrestling.
That is right. We announced last week the final 8 competitors of this tournament, and it is time to announce the bracket. So voting for the 5th annual Gender Neutral Monarch Tournament will begin tomorrow, Friday at noon. So I will post those tweets out. So there'll be like a first tweet that'll have the graphic, and then there'll be a bunch of tweets underneath it with the polls. So voting will go for a little bit under, what would it be, a week? So it will end before we record, so like 7-ish. So, Joe, if you're planning on stuffing the ballots anyway, just understand when you look at the tweet, it will say how long you have to vote, and I cannot change that. Once I post it, I am not capable of editing that, so that's up to you to follow that. And go ahead and play, you know, just so you know. But anyways, it is time to announce the brackets. Thank you, listener of the show, friend of the show, Derek, for doing all the graphics for this year's tournament. We are going to start, just imagine this, the bottom right-hand corner of the brackets. Your first matchup will be Timeless Tony Storm versus Filthy Tom Lawler.
That's tremendous. I'm surprised nothing similar to that never happened in Beyond. I think there was like a Tony Storm Tim Thatcher match that happened in Beyond. You don't even need to watch the match, just look at the thumbnail for it. Yeah. But I definitely think Filthy Tom today would absolutely play ball with Timeless Tony Storm. I like that matchup.
Who would wear the shorter shorts in that match?
I would demand Luther wear shorter shorts than the both of them.
Good answer.
All right. Next up, the matchup that will face the winner of Tony Storm versus Tom Lawler. It is the pick from Indie Wrestling Guide, Alex Price versus world-class Channing Thomas.
Channing Thomas has Sidney Bacavella with him, which I'm assuming that he's going to. Alec Price, I'm sorry about your damn luck, son.
That's an intriguing on the come-up matchup, though.
No, absolutely.
I do like Channing Thomas when he wears the CT on his boots because it just makes me think of Crooked Titty.
That's right.
And it is possible, I know, completely unrelated, but there could be somebody working on a computer program somewhere that might enhance Channing Thomas's chances in this tournament.
No, I don't want you. That's two different people. I don't know what it was. And again, listen, I get critiqued when I say this is Adam's deal to do whatever the fuck he wants with it, but it's Adam's deal. He can do whatever the fuck he wants with it.
Yeah, I'm just saying. All right. So next matchup, the Hayabusa pick, Brandon St. James versus maybe spooky now Sky Blue.
Are we going by fandom? Are we going by match quality? Are we going by whatever? Are we going by thick ass meat? What's the criteria on this?
Hey, it's whatever people vote. That's all I'm saying.
I have a feeling it's not going to matter that Adam purposely stacked this so that Sky Blue would win.
What?
So that's all.
I think that's a little unfair.
If I was Ed, I would get Terry Skittles to file an injunction. But that's just me.
Hey, listen, it's not my fault Brandon St. James doesn't have Twitter. All right, maybe if he did, he'd be able to put up a better fight. But again, that's on the fans. This is a poll that's going up. Let people vote how they want to vote. The winner of the Sky Blue Brandon St. James match will face the winner of this next match, and that is Final Wrestling Place's selection Kalani Jordan versus Hardway Sam Holloway.
I know Tim and Marcus are very proud of their pick, very happy with their pick. They've thrown some shade at some other people, specifically people on this call, myself included, in regards to our pick. And just based on that alone, since Sam Holloway was on my short list of people, that's what I'm picking.
Tim and Marcus, don't bite the hand that feeds, brother.
All right, on the other side of the bracket, bottom left-hand side, we have DeWicky's pick, Chris Statlander, versus the holder of the Haas boots, the Duke.
The Duke has had a good run, but he's held on to that boot for a long time. I may have had somebody slip into my DMs today critiquing that there was an actual boot trophy that the Duke pays no respect to. He carries around a boot that he doesn't even bother to spray paint bronze, let alone gold. Some would say a disrespect to that very boot. So Chris Statlander, I think Chris Statlander is a good hoss, right? I think she could carry that boot with pride.
I wonder if the boot is on the line or if it's one of those things where like the winner of the tournament also gets the boot, kind of like the Continental Classic. Interesting. All right, so facing the winner of Statlander versus Duke will be the winner of this matchup. Chicken Salad Podcast champion Jeff Cannonball will be facing Megan Bain.
That's a sexy match right there.
It is. I wonder what Jeff Cannonball looks like dressed like Wonder Woman.
I'm sure that could be arranged.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
So, it's a tough matchup. Both, I would say, equally sized. Megan Bain is a little less experienced than Jeff Cannonball. Jeff Cannonball, I think, is a more versatile performer. I think if we're looking at this in the realistic sense or in the getting vote sense, I think depending on the picture that Adam chooses for Megan Bain, and is an option, but I think Jeff would be more willing to play ball with our stupid shenanigans. So I think Jeff, this is Jeff's match to lose. How about that?
Is Jeff managed by Downtown Spaghetti Buffet Simon Sutherland?
Ooh, that is a good question. I will defer to you guys. I can always add that to the graphic.
I think just Jeff straight up, and we can all picture Downtown Spaghetti Buffet Simon Sutherland in our minds with the suits that he wears and the very form-fitting suits that he wears. I don't know how he pulls that off, but he pulls that off.
If it's Jeff Cannonball, the king of squirt, then it's a different ballgame. But
listen, Squirt Party 2023.
All right, so next up, I was bamboozled into thinking this was the card is going to change his pick, but it was Ronald Two Legs' pick. Kaplan versus Alex Shelley.
If there was ever a clash of styles in the history of the world, there is one. Alex Shelley, arguably one of my favorite wrestlers of the last 20 years. Kaplan, one of my favorite people of the last 10 years. This is a pick'em, and I'm probably going to wait until the very end before I make my decision on this one.
Very intriguing matchup.
I'll tell you what, interesting thing I'll say about Alex Shelley is that to me, and I love Alex Shelley, we all love Alex Shelley. Alex Shelley, the LA Knight of his day, and by that I mean, I remember going to Joe's house for the few TNA pay-per-view, whatever they were doing, and Joe, you loved Alex Shelley from the beginning. You were a big proponent of him.
Alex Shelley and LA Knight, peas in a pod. But
right, yeah. I remember you from the very beginning being like, this guy is really good, and this is pre-paparazzi productions, all that. You championed that guy from the very beginning.
Yeah, and I'll say, and I think I mentioned this on the show before. When I was getting more IWA Mid-South stuff, and they had the turnover of talent of your Phil and your Cabana and your BJ Whitmer and stuff who went off to Ring of Honor, and that next group of guys that stepped up was your Alex Shelley's and your Jimmy Jacobs. This was late 2002, early 2003, and there was just something about Alex Shelley that I'm like, this guy's fucking awesome, right? And then he gets the deal with TNA, and then he's Goldilocks' baby bear, and I'm like, oh, this guy's being wasted, but I'm with him. We're hanging in here. The guys, I've seen the potential. I know this guy can do it, and he's done it, and he's doing it, man. Current TNA World Champion, right?
Oh, yeah.
Yep. All right, and next, your final opening round matchup.
You're nothing if not predictable, Adam.
It is your final opening round matchup. We have Christian Cage versus the only man in this tournament I can confidently say has a dead father, Sting.
Go fuck yourself.
Adam.
Yes.
We all called this. I pointed at the thing with my Babe Ruth-esque physique. Again, you do what you got to do, Adam. Myself, as an honorary member of the patriarchy, my name is you missed this. This was in a dark segment on TV this past week where Christian Cage renamed me Unprettier. So you know where my allegiances lie. And Brett, DJ, listen, I know you guys love Sting. I love Sting, but it's all about business.
Listen, DJ and I, card-carrying members of Sting's Squadron.
Absolutely.
We have nothing but respect for the patriarchy. This is a sham. Adam's Fuck Around Playground 2023 bullshit tournament.
This was a random draw. It was a random draw.
Bitch.
Yeah.
You guys didn't watch the selection show that was on our Patreon earlier in this week? I pulled all the names out of one of those drums that you spin.
I'm going to put you in the fucking drum and spin you.
This was completely random that it happened to be Christian Cage versus Sting in the first round. I mean, that's a great matchup. I mean, I can't help it that it was in the first round.
Sting's going to do it for all the little stingers out there. All right, so that's what's going to happen.
Do those little stingers have fathers?
Most of them. Very loving, caring, attentive, in the picture fathers.
Okay. No single mothers with those little stingers bringing them to shows.
And I guess anything's possible.
I'll say this: it's good that Adam put these two together because he's saying this is your first round matchup. This is the winner. This is the winner of this whole thing.
I agree.
That's right.
I agree, 100%.
Iron sharpens iron.
All right, so like I said, tomorrow, Friday at noon, there will be a tweet on the At Odds Patreon. Voting will go for the, what do you say, like 22 hour, or I'm sorry, 6 days and 22 hours? Sorry, math is hard. But
it'll be 6 days and change or whatever it is if you're doing it at noon. And you're saying it'll be on the At Odds Twitter, not the At Odds Patreon.
That is the word I was looking for. Yes, again, drinking. But yeah, so voting will be up tomorrow.
Are you drinking Coors Light? What are you drinking there?
These are Miller Lite 24 ounces, yes.
It's practically water.
Yeah, practically. So yeah, I will have that up tomorrow, and good luck to everybody. Again, random draw. I cannot. I cannot be held accountable for Who Phase 2. And again, shout out to Derek. I don't know if you guys saw the Grand Theft Auto inspired graphics for this. My favorite stuff so far.
Yeah, it looks awesome.
Beautiful. If this was a game, if this was real life, if this was anything, if this got collected, people putting podcasts on like CDs or vinyl or whatever it is, this would be the cover of the album. So I got no beef with Derek. Derek does good work, but Adam, one more time.
Go fuck yourself.
All right.
So hey, plugs. We talk about a lot of these independent folks that are in the gender neutral Monarch of At Odds, and you can see a lot of those folks pop up over on Jerry's Internet Wrestling Emporium, aka IWTV. Use the promo code At Odds or Mortis, either one. I think put them both in together, and I think we both get the credit.
Throwback.
Yeah.
Right. We both get the credit for it. For new subscribers, if you keep your thing and go, you just type in the name of your favorite independent wrestler. Find out some people that, big stars right now. I'm sure they had a lot of independent wrestling matches. Go find an Eddie Kingston match. Go find a Orange Cassidy match. Go find a Wheeler Yuta match. Claudio Castagnoli, I'm sure they got all matches on IWTV. Upcoming here in the near future is the next LVAC show. We are, as of this recording, probably about 5 weeks away. Tickets are on sale. None of the talent is announced. None of the matches are announced. But it's LVAC. It's Sokals. It always delivers. You absolutely should be there. The link to that will be in the show notes, along with the link to pick up both the MP4 streaming and the DVD, if you're a physical media person like me, of Steel Stack SmackDown 2. I know that's available streaming on the aforementioned Jerry's Internet Wrestling Emporium, but I'm going to get a physical copy of the DVD because I got physical copies of all the DVDs. Even if I wasn't on the show doing commentary, I like to have that little collection there to look back on something that I was a very small part of, You could also help us out by making some purchases through our eBay affiliate link. When you click on links to various merchants on the site to make a purchase, this can result in the site earning a commission. Affiliate programs and affiliations include, but are not limited to, the eBay Partner Network.
Say it with me. Yeah. Nobody said it with me.
Oh, yeah.
Sorry.
And currently, up until this upcoming Sunday night, through our TeePublic store, everything is 40% off. Get designs inspired by this show. Get designs inspired by the soon-to-be-named network, Longbox Heroes, Final Wrestling Place, Bad Terry Lies, Bad Terry Still Lies. We have our store, 40% off everything, and I know Brett and DJ have their own separate store as well, which
I haven't updated that store in forever.
It still works, right?
Forever.
The logos are different. They have a different show name on them, but whatever.
Go get it.
All you warheads out there, go get your merch.
Right. Yeah, go own a piece of history, right?
Yeah.
Speaking of making history, Joe, what are the pigskin pick'ems looking like these days?
Oh shit! Where did I had them somewhere? I know I'm like
right,
in like
it's on.
I got them. No, I got them. I got them all here.
Ones. This was last week.
Yeah, I got them. Adam is in 5th.
Yeah. Yep. Go ahead.
Joe is in 13th. Brett is 16th. And I'm 32nd.
Way to go.
I'm picking them 75% right. I'm very proud of myself. I'm doing better than I thought.
As I mentioned, it's repulsive and disgusting that it took this long for me to finally fall out of the top 10. Y'all should be ashamed of yourselves for actually caring and watching football to do this bad for this long.
Yes, noted football guy Joe Sposto.
That's right.
Also, I feel like I have to call out Brett and DJ on this.
Okay.
Very little talk of the Sports Talk Fantasy Football League over on We Need Wrestling.
Sorry.
I feel like you guys have I feel like you guys have faced each other, and it hasn't turned into like a blood feud that is torn you apart.
We are facing each other this week currently.
Oh, are we?
We
I
are.
didn't even know that.
And I am currently picked to beat him by like 4 points. Brett and I respect each other. So we're not going to go after one another. We're just cool with shaking hands and calling it whatever it is.
Yeah, as it's been noted, DJ is my heterosexual life partner.
Right. So that's just what it is. No hate. If I can't win, I hope he does. That's how that works.
Vice versa. Fuck you, Adam.
Yeah.
Why is everybody attacking me other than the fact that my team is the best team in the league by far?
You know what you did, you son of a bitch.
You're going to have to narrow it down. I've done many things. And Joe, go ahead. Do what you're going to do, Joe.
Go fuck yourself.
On behalf of me, Ed, and everyone else in the league.
Well, you know what? You and Ed are not in the league, Joe, and other people that aren't in the league are these podcasts. Long Box Heroes After Dark, We Need Wrestling, Porch Talk, Viewer's Choice, Indie Wrestling Guide, Wings on Wings, Hi, a Bussy, Chicken Salad Podcast, and Final Wrestling Place.
Steroids are awesome. I don't care what anybody says.
And?
I need anabolic steroids from this doctor right now. Anabolic steroids is a logical next step.
Now, there is one thing that we did forget before you go to throw to it. The Patreon.
Oh, I was just going to say that. Yes. All this right. Saturday at noon, Joe. Go ahead. Just let
okay. So it finally comes out. The next edition of Conversations with Joe got bumped up the schedule by a week or so because it's the episode that everyone wants to hear, and that's my conversation with Eddie Kingston in regards to Chikara stuff from 10 years ago plus, right? I mentioned it before on the show. Kudos to Tim and Marcus over at Final Wrestling Place for, planting the bug in my ear. And it's like, one of those things where like, I should ask Eddie, should ask this person, should ask that person. But it's one of those things where it's like, when you hear somebody else say it, you're like, yeah, maybe I should ask that person. Like, and again, I could sit here and I could describe to you the way that my mind works sometimes when it comes to stuff like this. But all I'll just say is, Eddie was very nice and cordial with his time. He's a very busy person, and he's going to be even busier as things are going. This was recorded almost a month ago as we discuss this. And we don't talk a lot of current stuff, which helps. I do ask him about one thing current. But other than that, like, you want to hear a guy who was there from pretty much the beginning of Chikara. He was the first ever grand champion. He main evented the first ever iPay-per-view that Chikara ever did. We get into a lot of it. And, I don't think Eddie gets asked a lot about Chikara stuff, even though he was a big part of Chikara. And we get into it, right?
Yeah, I mean, honestly, and you would know better than I would, Eddie doesn't make a ton of podcast appearances, and out of the ones that he does, I feel like Chikara is probably the least discussed topic on any of those.
I would say so.
Yeah.
So, I'm very excited to hear it. Not blowing smoke or nothing, but like this conversation with Joe series is so much fun and it's so enjoyable. And to hear like one of like my favorite wrestlers now get to be on it, I can't wait. It's gonna be so cool.
100%. And I will say also already on the books, December 23rd, day before Christmas Eve, will be your conversations with Joe Avery Good.
Oh, the Festivus special, right?
Yes, a Christmas tradition. You sitting down with Avery Good.
That weekend, Chris Statlander will have Jerry Stiller inspired gear at the pay-per-view.
I hope. Oh, I hope.
Are you saying you want a piece of me? Yeah, so like it's one of those things. So it's like when the Avery Good one comes out, it's like, all right, now I got to schedule the next one. Like I get like the next month off where I don't really have to think about working on something. I got a couple names. I had a couple people suggested to me. And it's one of those things where like I want to start 2024 off with a bang, with a big one. And if they say yes, then it'll be fun. It'll be interesting. But if they don't, I think I got a couple other people that I could certainly fall back on. And this time, I promise I'm only going to ask one person at a time, as opposed to like throwing 3 lines out and then having to record like 2 or 3 back to back to back to back and have to sit on them for weeks and weeks. Yeah. But yeah, that's December 24th Joe's problem.
Yeah, December 24th, you got to get back to work. But
exactly.
So obviously, patreon.com/AtOddsWrestling or atoddswrestling.com/Patreon. Over on the At Odds website, I have all the conversations with Joe's in order. So if you just want to click on those links, you can look at them, go listen to them in the correct listening order. So it's a little bit easier to use the website than it is to use the Patreon if you're starting from scratch. But so yeah, if you're listening to this, the Eddie Kingston one will be out Saturday at noon, so go check that out. I'm about halfway through it, Joe, and it is awesome.
Thank you. And again, I really do appreciate like you listening and Brett listening and DJ listening and everybody else who listens and has kind words for these. It's very fun to do, and I think it's I can't speak for anyone else who does them, but I definitely think it is cathartic for some of these folks to get a chance to talk about something that was such a big part of their life that, for a variety of reasons, negative or positively, and we do get into it, of course, and we did get into it on the Max Smashmaster one last month, that, Chikara feels like a dirty word to a lot of people, and like, it doesn't have to be, I still like Chikara. I still enjoy the time that I spent there, and I think a lot of these folks do too. And if you do as well, or if you're just curious about it, definitely check it out. I implore you.
Awesome. Before we throw to the best part of the show, Brett, DJ, any plugs that we didn't cover?
Yeah, I mean, you can find us at We Need Wrestling, email the show at We Need Wrestling at Gmail. All that stuff. If you haven't listened before, our show is a little different than what Joe and Adam usually do here. We're more of it's been described sort of like a sports centric breakdown, and we do go sort of around the world and cover a lot of Japan stuff. I think we're the only people on the network that really do. So we take our time with that. So wherever your podcasts are, we're there. We Need Wrestling. Give us a shot, but that's about it. Oh, Wings on Wings. We're on Wings on Wings too. Jesus, I forgot about that. Currently doing the Stranger Things hot sauces. That's at _Wings on Wings, wingsonwings.podbean.com. If you don't know what that is, we watch the 90s sitcom Wings, and then eat hot sauces on chicken wings and discuss that terrible, terrible television show. So there you go.
Awesome. All right, Brett, just so you know, we were discussing this before you showed up on the recording, when you were 40 minutes late. We're going we're going to weekly purchases, and I have a very special instrumental version that I need you to sing to. So, Joe, hit Brett's music.
Brett, you ready?
Oh, I fucking guess. Some might cost a little. Some might cost a lot. I fucked this up already. Fuck you, Adam.
The $1 million Vansky. The $100. What are you? How much are you worth? What do you inflate yourself at?
The $50 Vansky.
I'm the $100 Vansky.
Oh, the $2 bill Vansky.
Will be bought. Ha 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 ha.
I just wanted to hear you do the laugh. That's all.
The 25-cent piece Vansky.
The Sacagawea dollar Vansky.
Well, you don't have to be mean about it. What did you guys buy?
I ain't bought shit. I bought nothing for myself, man. Spending freeze is fully in effect. It's Christmas time. I got parents. I got nieces and nephews. I got my kid to buy for, so I ain't buying myself shit. I have an Amazon wish list for myself in the hopes that people buy me the things that I need, like more pens and a composition notebook to start the year 2024 off with.
You fucking cam girl asking people to buy stuff off your Amazon wish list?
This is stuff for me. So that, my family will go and buy it. This is the shit that I need. I don't want nothing extravagant. My Spider-Man wallet is falling apart, so I need a new Spider-Man wallet, right? It has to be a Spider-Man wallet. And, so these are the things that I'm going to buy for myself on December 26th when nobody in my family buys them for me.
Now with Black Friday being all month long or whatever the new shtick is with this holiday,
I hate it.
Oh, it's so confusing. I definitely know I'm getting older because I was looking through Target ads and I'm like, packs of socks are on sale, and I could always use some new underwear. But yeah, I'm kind of in the same boat. I listen. I got 5 nephews I got to buy for, so I'm like, well, let's just figure out what to get for them. I didn't buy anything this week other than I did buy the Marvel's Rogue, the X-Men 97 Marvel Legend figure. First time I saw it out in person, so I had to pick it up. And I've already asked this to DJ. I'll ask it to you, Joe and Adam. Do I need the Marvel Bishop figure in this line? It's the only one I'm missing. I don't really give a shit about Bishop. So what are your thoughts?
Are you worried if you don't buy that, people think you're a racist?
No, I already bought. No, that was no. If you remember when this line first came out, I was like, I don't really need the Storm or the Bishop. Then I'm like, wow, that sounds real racist. So that's definitely not it.
If Bishop is the only one you're missing, it would be a little sus if you didn't buy him.
I already got Storm.
No, I mean, if you don't care about Bishop and again, you said, you got the Storm, so the heat's off, I think you're okay.
All right.
I'm of two minds on this. You should get the full set if that's the only figure that you're missing. No racial connotations, at least on this end. But it's based on what? The upcoming new animated series?
Yes. Yeah, the new animated series that God knows when it's actually going to get released.
Right. Yeah. I would play it safe and get it.
All right. I was going to wait for an Amazon sale maybe. But all right. Maybe
Target has buy one get one half off. I get you only need the one figure, but you could probably do some kind of opportunity.
All right, I'll have to look into that. Thank you. That's all I bought.
Yeah. So I didn't buy anything. Michelle and I are planning on making a big boy purchase tomorrow, I think, for maybe a new video game system. Mm-hmm.
Oh, finally! Let's go.
What, Joe?
Are you getting the Switch?
We are leaning towards a Switch. Yes.
Yay!
$350 for the OLED Switch that comes with Smash Brothers, and then I'm going to buy Mario Kart. So, see what happens.
Oh man, the PlayStation 5 with the disc that's normally $500 is $350 tomorrow at Target. You can play like big boy games with me and Brett.
Right. So I've wanted a PlayStation for a little while, but I am a sucker for Mario games, and Michelle likes playing Mario games, so we can actually sit on the couch together and play Mario. So that's what's gonna lean towards that. But I'm going to make a proposal here about a purchase because I don't know if you guys saw it, but Mattel Creations is currently doing a buy one get one sale.
I sure did.
And
like buy one get one 50% off for it.
Free.
Is it free?
It is. I put them in my cart. Loyalty to my show, extending this offer to Brett. Brett, did you buy the Jake and Ravishing Rick Rude Coliseum collection?
I did not.
They are buy one, get one free.
All right, let's talk. Text me. Yeah, because I think I'm in.
I put them in my cart. The other one gets scratched down to $0. $35 plus shipping a set.
Oh, yeah, 100%. I'm in.
It's not a glitch. There's been no thing right on it. Like,
so the Muhammad Ali set is in there. Buy one get one. They have like a couple random elites, like the Stunning Steve, the Cena, the red geared cruiserweight Ray.
I'm looking at it now. The Hogan and Terry.
Right. The Becky Lynch, the newest retro with like rhythm and blues hammer and tugboat. The WCW Steamer, the Raw is War Ultimate ring with Kane. They're buy one get one free.
And how long does that sale go for?
I don't know, but I didn't get the Jake and Rick Rude because I don't own a Rick Rude. I own that Jake, but not in the Ultimate version. But for half off.
Yeah, that's a no. Yeah, let's do it.
So that'll happen after this show.
All right, perfect.
So.
Joe, what are you sniffing on that?
That you'd be crazy not to for buy one get one. That's ridiculous.
Yeah, I mean, I unfortunately I have all of these that you're talking about, but now I'm sad that I can't take advantage of this sale. But that's awesome. You guys got to jump on that.
Yeah.
I don't have a big week. I'll get us out of here. Speaking of PlayStation, I bought Madden, whatever the current one is, 2024. It was on sale on Amazon a couple days ago. Supposedly, He Who Shall Not Be Named also is buying it so that we can stop playing Grand Theft Auto and start playing something else on PlayStation online. But yeah, so I got that. Yeah.
Good luck with that.
Hey, I mean, he already has a headset that kind of works, but... And the only other thing I bought, I didn't order any toys because, again, this is the year of financial responsibility. But I did buy in the major group. Again, well, this is a toy, but it wasn't like from a toy retailer. It was from a person, so it doesn't count. Somebody was selling a bunch of Funko Pops, and they had a really good deal on Captain America Thanos 2-pack that was sold at Hot Topic. It's like bearded Cap trying to rip the gauntlet off of Thanos. And it was really cheap, so I'm like, okay, I'll buy that. It's one that I've wanted for a while. And he had a bunch of other stuff, and it was doing really good prices. But you remember those ringside exclusive Remco style, like Major Boys figures that look like He-Man figs?
Sadly, yes.
Yeah. So he had a Smart Mark Sterling one, which I already have, but it was signed and it was $10 shipped. And I'm like,
that's fine then.
Yeah, that's ridiculously cheap. I'll just grab that. Yeah. So I bought the Funko and I got the Smart Mark for like $10 thrown in. And I'm just going to sell my unsigned one. And like I probably get like $20 shipped for the unsigned one. So the way I see it, I got it for free. You know, can't beat that. But that's all I bought this week.
Proud of you.
Thanks, buddy. Again, it's the year of financial responsibility.
Yeah, it wasn't from a retailer. It was from a person, so it doesn't count.
It doesn't. Yeah, I mean, if it's not like, you know, if I don't get an email confirmation, it doesn't count. Like, if it's just a PayPal thing, no, that you're allowed to do as many of those as you want.
A lot of loopholes in your life, Adam.
I live by a set of rules, Joe. But that's all I got.
Well, gentlemen, thank you very much for joining us. Thanks for staying up late with this, you know. This will be on both feeds, so you're hearing this on both the At Odds with Wrestling feed and the We Need Wrestling feed. It's an extra long episode because it's essentially like 2 podcasts in one, right?
Yeah, it is shorter than if we did both of our episodes this week. So
that's true.
There you
Good
go.
point.
And for the record, $82 shipped. There are 2 Coliseum Collection Jake Roberts and Rick Rudes coming to my door.
Let's
nice.
go.
So,
all right. So for Brett and DJ, for Adam, for me, closing out both these episodes. Everyone, thanks for listening. Be safe out there and enjoy some wrestling. You guys want to throw your?
Yeah.
You're listening to the soon-to-be-named network, the Lamborghini of podcast networks.